Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Monday, June 17th.
The day of moon.
Day after Father's Day. All the dads out there, man. You guys had a great day yesterday. Shout out to Dad.
Happy Father's Day, Jeff. I know you have a little one.
No, I don't. Nope,
No?
We're not getting that one started. Nope.
Weird way to take the Father's Day combo, Boone.
My bad.
It's a weird direction. It happened very fast. The only one, Gentry's got a son. Happy Father's Day to Gentry, man. Yeah. He's a great dad. He'll be joining us in a little bit here. We are back. Feel good. It's a Monday. MicroMike will be joining the show today. We're going to get to some good conversations today. The Detroit Lions hired in someone into their front office. We're going to break down not just that, but also it's a conversation I had today, which it is the offseason, so we have to get a little creative here. And I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of dive into why I believe that Brad Holmes will have a front office tree in the NFL. It's not anything surprising, but it's almost preparing people for it. And kind of like what Adam Peters is with the Commanders, working under John Lynch. And you have the 49ers spread out. Now you have even the Patriots with Nick Cassero, I believe his last name is, with the Texans. He was from the Patriots. So it's a conversation we're going to have today. Along with Sam LaPorta, which is the thumbnail. Sam LaPorta, another all-pro season. He was at
Dakota
Tight End University once again, working on his game. And, hey, get your merchandise. I got some things came in. Like I got the Crunch Time tee. I got the Crunch Time. This is something that I have not put out yet. It's a flex fit hat for the for golfers or maybe the dads.
No, Hefe. No.
We only have the trucker cap available, but this I think I'm going to put up on the store very soon. So people, if they want a different type of hat, it is coming very, very soon. But get your merch.
Still waiting on my merch over here. Got nothing.
Yeah, well,
it's on the path right now, Boone. It'll get there. It's on the path.
This is the Booner path. It feels like.
Well, hold on. You know what? One second.
What's this guy doing? How you doing, Boone? Good weekend?
I've had a great weekend.
What do you think about that U.S. Open?
U.S. Open.
Bad
Shout
Boys,
out Bryce
great
and
movie.
DeChambeau. We saw the Bad Boys. It was a great weekend. Let's see, Jeff.
Great movie.
So I got.
All right. Now that you have everybody's attention just like you like, Jeff, what do you want to do with it?
Whoa.
That is a cold one.
Look at that.
Whoa.
We got this, which I think the crew necks we're coming out with. I think I like the crew necks. A little crew neck action.
Oh, yeah, that's cold.
You guys want to see? What do you guys feel? I mean, the crew necks. I just ordered it to see what it looked like. I think we should get the crew necks for the people. I know it's summer, but hey,
the people like crew neck. I'm not a crew necks guy.
Yeah. I love crew necks, especially like when I'm like, it's the summer. It's like 9-10 o'clock out at night. About to go out by like a fire or something. Throw a crew neck on.
I said the same thing earlier. A little bonfire, a little crew neck.
Bonfire, you have to have a hoodie. You got to be able to have a hood.
You could have either or. Pick your preference.
Yeah, that's fair.
Gatekeeping.
I'm a little bigger, so the crew neck doesn't work for me.
That's fair, Boone.
I need the pocket. You need that pocket to stretch it out a little bit.
Tyler says that Booner Pass shirt photo was from Booner's DUI.
Yeah, on a little bike.
Alan W says crew necks are more of a fall vibe. Oh, I mean, yeah, in the fall, definitely crew necks come out more.
And then my man Jeff bought a crew neck, and it's 90 degrees outside.
Well, I wanted to see what it looked like. To be fair,
it's so hot out, boys.
Yeah,
I was talking to Boone. I don't got AC in here, and I know Boone doesn't have it either. And I just threw up so much when I ran, and I listened to "Lord Knows" by Drake and Rick Ross probably like 15 times on repeat. And like I was just locked in, and I was going up a hill, and I got to the top of the hill. I was like, I think I can keep going. And then like, dude, my stomach, and like for 2-3 minutes, there was like this family and 2 little kids playing on the playground right next to me, and I was just yakking in the woods. It was fucking painful. We got the run in though, boys. We got the run in.
Gosh.
Football. I mean, that was wild.
He's the only person I know that runs till he gets sick. Like,
it's kind of weird.
Built different.
We'll lock in.
I don't know if that's built different. I think that's like, I don't know. There has to be a name.
David Goggins. I don't know what he's.
It's just like it's like a mental workout.
Isn't there a name for that? Like
a psycho? Maybe.
No, like isn't there like I can diagnose you with something classy for that?
It's usually like I can feel it. Like especially like how I eat that day. Like I'll know how far it goes till I throw up, take the walk back, hop in the car. Keep the day moving.
That's weird, dude. I love you, Klotz. You know that, but that's just a weird, very odd one.
It helps with the stress. Helps with the stress.
Puking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, dude. You've got a disease, dude. We need to talk. We need to have off air. We need to have a conversation.
You just get like the demons out.
Oh, the chat's starting to put it in there right now that the disease, bulimia.
Nah, I don't even know what that means.
Nah,
sounds like a food disease.
That sounds like it's whatever you have going on over there. You have a disease.
Well, okay. You know what? I do want to bring up before we get into football. We got a lot of football to get to. We're also gonna talk a little Pistons at the end. Monty Williams reportedly staying here in Detroit. We're gonna get to that later. But before we do you guys see the Angel Reese flagrant one on Caitlyn Clark? And it's all the whole news, man. If you're following any ESPN, Fox Sports, anything, it's been all Caitlyn Clark and what she's done, rightfully so, what she's done for the NBA, WNBA, but not just her, but others as well. Angel Reese being one of them. But you see Angel Reese just absolutely, not just her, but really the entire WNBA.
Yeah.
It's the and we can get into it if you guys want about this Caitlyn Clark stuff. It's been like what's the word? Like controversial, I guess. Controversial conversation. It feels like. I don't know. I don't know. You boys off screen. You boys off screen. You can't make.
I'm telling you to cook, Boone. I was telling you.
You guys have known me way too long. I'm ADHD. When you guys start making things off screen, I don't know what I'm saying. I look down and I have the shortest attention span of all time. This is a disaster over here. No, it's such a controversial situation, like with the whole Angel Reese and Caitlyn Clark. I don't even think, honestly, guys, and this might be like I don't even think this, like the fact that they're getting pulled into like let's just talk about basketball with these two girls and like the WNBA and let it grow. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like this has gotten, it feels like way too far to a point to where it's like this is just every single time one of these girls step on the court, this conversation, and it's like it's not annoying at this point, but it's like the WNBA has been looking to grow for so long, and now there's finally something for it to grow, whether it's Angel Reese or Caitlyn Clark, and everyone's just putting a halt to it. It's like, no, we're not letting this happen. It's the craziest thing, and I think it was a basketball play, but I do think it was a flagrant one because, like in the NBA, if you hit someone in the face, it's a flagrant one no matter what. You know? So like the people that are like, oh, it's a basketball play, they shouldn't have called a flagrant one. Or Angel Reese after the game being like, oh, like towards that call was like, oh, some people get different treatment than like no, like any NBA player that gets hit in the face like that, you're gonna, whether you meant to or not, or you're making a play on the ball or not, it's going to be a foul, like a flagrant one. That's just the rule of what it is nowadays in today's basketball. So that's it. It was a basketball play, but it's a flagrant one because you smacked her in the face and she took one to the face. Like that's just what happens. So I don't know, the Caitlyn Clark thing. It's we haven't even talked about it on the show. At some point, it just has to be embraced that the ratings have been up because of her. Everything's been up because of her. Like the whole like thing where it's like, well, the ratings are up because of all of us. I never watched WNBA until this year. I didn't watch women's college basketball until Caitlyn Clark. So like that is what it is. Like I learned who Angel Reese was because of Caitlyn Clark. Like Caitlyn Clark is a star. So the sooner they embrace it, like her not making the USA team, wild. Like they've won how many straight golds, and like I could go on a tangent of this all day, guys. I'm on the side of the Caitlyn release, the Caitlyn Clark side because she's changed the game. Like, dude, you guys want to hear this stat? The Indiana Fever game versus the Mystics, Washington Mystics, I believe, the two worst teams in the WNBA, had 20,300 in attendance. 20,300 in attendance. Guess game one of the NBA Finals, 19,000. I don't care how many you can fit in a stadium or not, like, but the fact that they had more in attendance for the two worst teams in the WNBA than game one of the NBA Finals shows you something, and it's two of the worst teams in the WNBA, and it's because Caitlyn Clark's there. So, dude, they just need to get over it. Like, she's a generational talent. Whether you think so or not, she is. The stats show it. Everything shows it. She brings the fans in. The TV ratings, they're going to start getting more money. They switched literally to private jets because of her. So, like, everything has been done because of her. So, like, all this other stuff that comes with that, I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about when I like the other stuff and the off courts. Like, that is just, like, let's just talk basketball and numbers. Caitlyn Clark puts them up, and she's changed the game for now. If I'm her, I said this to someone the other day. If I'm Caitlyn Clark, I'll take the money Ice Cube offered me. You enjoy your time in the WNBA. You guys ratings can go back down. You guys can go charter again. You guys can have fun. No one watching you again. I'm going over to the Ice Cube League for $5 million. I'll take that money. Honestly, dude. Like she's making $200,000 just for people to go at her every day. And it's like, dude, I'll just go take $5 million with Ice Cube, and you guys can suffer on the ratings again. Even though you guys were slowly going up, you weren't even close to what you were this year because of her.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at from a rating standpoint, the first 3 weeks of the 2023 season compared to the first 3 weeks of this season, game viewership is up. You talked about the numbers of people attending games, but just game viewership, it's up. I think it's up 51% in households, by the way.
Jeff, can I cut you off? I know you just got started, but this comment, she shouldn't make the USA team. She's a rookie. That's crazy. On the men's side and the women's side, the last 3 women's Olympic teams have had either the incoming rookie of the best college player and the rookie, the last 3 Olympics. The last 3. Go look it up. So it's not just because she's a rookie. They've done it every year. And same with the USA basketball team. Almost every year, Christian Laettner, back in the day, they brought him in. Guess what? Because he was coming from college basketball. He was the best college basketball player. So he brought more ratings to the Olympics. That's just how it always has been. So that's the worst excuse to use is she shouldn't be because she's a rookie. They do that every single time. And then when they were asked about it, guess what they said? We don't want to have to deal with the fans of hers. You want the fans of hers to watch you. What are you talking about? You don't want to deal with them. It's so crazy to me. So that whole excuse is just out the door. There's been a rookie on the team the last 3 Olympics, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that's the tough part. Like the WNBA ratings are up now. If you want to do a pie chart, I would give most of that credit to Caitlyn Clark. Obviously, Angel Reese I think deserves a lot of credit too. I mean, she's a hell of a player. But in terms of like must-watch television, at least I can speak for me personally. I've watched more WNBA games this year with Caitlyn Clark than I ever have. So I only speak to my experience. And I know a lot of people feel that same way. So what she's done for the game is tremendous. And I know it gets competitive. I mean, they're all competitors. So when they see someone getting a certain spotlight and they feel like they're a better player, especially Angel Reese, yeah, you're going to get upset. But if you look at it in a different perspective and think, okay, the fact that she's here is shining more of a light on people that might not have gotten the credit they deserve prior, then it's a great thing. So, I think what she's doing for the game, how she plays the game, I'm not saying she's the best WNBA player in the league. I'm not saying all that because she's not. And there's a lot of good basketball players in the WNBA, but she is a damn good player, man. I mean, she's going to get only better. And it even goes back to your point about her not making the USA team. You have to look at it from a business perspective too. Like if you put Caitlyn Clark on the USA team, you know how many Clark jerseys you would sell? It's unreal.
Every arena over there would be in wherever.
Not saying you only do it for that reason, but it has to weigh in. I mean, Larry Bird, I think, made the dream team his last year in the league. I believe it was his last season before he retired. I could be wrong, but he was getting ready to retire essentially, and he was on that team. Of course, you want Larry Bird on that team. I mean, he's Larry Bird, but also it's Larry Bird for other reasons. So, it's a sometimes political conversation. I know that's part of it, but at least from my experience, I can speak, man. I've been more locked into that league because of her than I ever have. So, and Angel Reese too. I've even watched Angel Reese games. So, I think
and it's because of the Caitlyn Clark rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, I see it more all over on YouTube. Even the controversial stuff, like the Chennedy Carter stuff, where she made a non-basketball play and shoved Caitlyn Clark, like even that stuff's on my timeline, and I'm watching content from whatever network talking about that play and watching debates about. Like I'm watching more content and consuming more just WNBA games than I ever have. So I think what she's doing and others are doing, it's great for the league, and she's going to be around for a while here. So. It's awesome. And honestly, the amount of pressure that's probably on her shoulders as of right now with really the league. And I think they should, by the way, she's a rookie. So you got to have that little bit of welcome to the league moment. There's got to be some of that. Like
that's the stuff I don't mind.
Yeah. Like you're going to compete. You're not going to bow down to her and say, oh, it's Caitlyn Clark. Let's treat her with respect. And let's be cordial. No, you compete. But man, how some people are talking about like, oh, Caitlyn Clark.
Yeah, it's almost like
she's doing
the WNBA finally has a solution to their views, and people are trying to be a cause of the problem of it now and trying to cause a decline of it. What's like the WNBA finally has something good. And then you see these players that are trying to like make it all about themselves and be the cause of the downfall of what's going good for them. Like if this, like every time I turn on a discussion about Caitlyn Clark, it's always taken to a race conversation or a political conversation. It's just so annoying because in today's age, like you should just be able to enjoy the game of basketball, and everybody turns this into a debate that it shouldn't be. So if people could just shut up, watch basketball, because even me, like the last thing, I would laugh at the thought of watching a WNBA game. And now they're on at sports bars and I actually watch them. And it's actually like, oh, okay, this really isn't that bad. But then when you get outside of it and you see the culture that's going on, it's annoying. So I love what Caitlyn Clark is doing for the league, but it's still at the same point where it's just like, back to what I was saying, like, it's just like, shut up and just let the league be. Like, it's going in a good direction. The more complaining you're doing, I think you're stopping the progress that it could be making.
That's where, for me, and it kind of goes to where, like, the political and the race side, like today, I think Robert Griffin put in there, was like, why are we making the Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese thing, like, why is this a race thing at this point? And like, that needs to end. It needs to be basketball. And that's where, for me, it needs to be business and basketball, because the longer that you sit here and they sit there and they're like, when it comes to the WNBA girls want to sit there and hold it back and sit like, no, we like, yeah, the welcome to the league stuff, like on the court, I think that's perfectly fine. Like, I don't mind. Go play tough. Go out there and like the Kennedy Carter or whatever her name is, the whatever, like, welcome to the league. Like, that's part of the game. But when it comes to like complaining about calls or complaining about these different things, it should be getting embraced. When was the last time we saw a Caitlyn Clark type hype, whether it was even the NBA or WNBA? What is it, LeBron? Like, was that the last time where there was like this much hype to where the rating, where like the ratings, like you saw a significant spike in ratings, you saw ticket sales, jersey sales, all of that. Caitlyn Clark is like top 10, not just in WNBA jersey sales, but NBA jersey sales out of NBA jerseys.
That's wild.
Like, this isn't like a normal situation. I don't care how good she is or how bad she is or how whatever you think when it comes to the game of basketball, what she is. She puts numbers up, first of all. So even if you think she's not, whatever. But when it comes to like growing the game, especially the WNBA, who's been trying to grow for so long, like you saw the growth in 2004 when LeBron came to the league. Like, there was, like, as much as the NBA was already big enough, when LeBron came in, he moved the needle, and that's a fact. And the WNBA has been waiting for something to move the needle. And this is like the biggest ticket sales, the biggest attendance, people watching on TV that they've had in like 30 years or something. Like, they've never seen this before. And it's like, you have a chance to kind of turn that needle and flip the page here and be like, hey, we can make this thing a serious, like, serious league to compete there with the WNBA or the NBA. Because I saw something that was like, they're still losing like $50 million a year. So it's like, you have a chance to kind of flip that and turn that page and start making money and use this to your advantage. And everyone's just like pulling it back. And it's like, dude, the harder you hang on to it, or the longer you hang on to it, the harder it's going to be. Like, it's like, you have to embrace it, whether you like it or not. You have to embrace it. And again, it's like, whether she can play, you feel like she can play or not, you have to embrace it. And like, their argument, it just keeps coming up in the chat. Like, the last 3 Olympic teams have had college/rookie players. So why all of a sudden, like, if you had to pick one player that in the last 3 or 4 Olympics that have ever get the go ahead to go play in the Olympics as a rookie, I think Caitlyn Clark would be the one, because the ratings and you're growing your game, whether she's good enough or not. Like, it's, I don't know. And to me, it's just like, you're trying to grow. Like, they've been trying to push the WNBA for so long and grow it and grow it and grow it. And like, this is the first big one.
Real quick, Big M says Jeff, pros didn't play in men's Olympic basketball until 92. That's why Larry Bird didn't play at the end of his career. Yeah, that wasn't necessarily my point. My point was Larry Bird at that time. That was the last year of his career. It's not about, I understand what you're saying, but my point is, even Bird at that point in his career was still immediately on the roster, which, like, is deservedly so. I mean, it's Larry freaking Bird. But again, it's not always, in my opinion, when you're recruiting for a USA team. The women's team they're going to dominate regardless. Like, you have to factor in a little bit of that business side. And I think if Caitlyn Clark was there, certainly, I think numbers wise, it's another opportunity to grow that product. Don't you want, not saying Big M, but in general, other women that play in the WNBA, don't you want to eventually make 200, 300, 400, 500,000 eventually?
Millions.
Get to $1 million salary? Like, that's how you do it. You got to grow this thing. And she's going to help you do it along with others, but she's definitely going to be the biggest reason.
And this comment, the U.S. women's national team has zero to do with ratings for the WNBA. Period. No, you want Caitlyn Clark on the team because you want ratings to come to women's basketball as a whole. This isn't just WNBA, because once the women's basketball game starts getting eyeballs on it, people will start watching it more. And right now, a lot of these women have to go overseas in their off season to go make the money. Like, so you're trying to make it to where the WNBA is the main league in the world, to where they don't have to go overseas in the offseason. So that's kind of where it is. You get the eyeballs in the Olympics. You get people watching the women's game. And then it translates to people coming. As soon as the Olympics done, guess what? WNBA picks right back up. And that's when you're like, oh, maybe as soon as people saw Caitlyn Clark and the USA women's team play, they're going to go transition over to the WNBA. Like, that's how it works. And there is the business side of it. As much as people hate it and they think that she's not good enough or whatever, it's like there's a business side of it. There's a reason at some point the NBA took jumps, and people like there's business to it. Like, you have to make business decisions, and someone that's growing the game the way that she has, whether you like her or not, it's a bad business move to not embrace it.
Yeah, I mean, and again, before we're going to move on here, but even my point is, and I know people keep bringing up, like, I understand that the 92 was the first U.S. team that allowed a pro on it. That's not the point. My point is Larry Bird at age 35 was on that team. I mean, he was still an all-star that year, but he wasn't Larry Bird. I mean, he already had a significant injury, and again, that was the end of his career. My point being, it's not even about that. I understand that. My point is with Caitlyn Clark, there has to be a business side to it, where I understand she's not one of the best players, but it's Caitlyn Clark, and she's going to draw a lot of ratings, and you're going national here. So that's all it is. I'm talking from a business perspective for the WNBA. But regardless, we're going to move on here because we're going to have MicroMike on in about 7 minutes. And before we move on, I do want to bring up some news that we weren't able to get to, and that is Isaiah Buggs is charged with domestic violence and burglary. I want to read some of this.
What? I did not even hear about this.
Yeah, this is like completely different from the thing earlier or a couple weeks ago, I guess.
Yeah, well, it was something. What was something prior that happened?
The prior was the dog situation in his hookah lounge. He has like dog. I don't know. It's something with a couple dogs or.
Okay, well, let's read some of this because honestly, I'm kind of learning more about it. I checked it out earlier. But essentially, yeah, it says right here, May 30th, Buggs turned himself in after he was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of second-degree animal cruelty. That's what you're referring to. 2 dogs under his care, a pit bull and a Rottweiler mixed, were found to be neglected and severely malnourished. One of the dogs had to be euthanized. Jesus. Buggs' agent, Trey Robinson, has alleged his client is a victim of ongoing submersive campaign to force the closure of the hookah lounge he owns in Tuscaloosa. Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, at the beginning here, it says defensive lineman, Kansas City Chiefs defensive lineman, keyword right there, not Detroit Lions. Isaiah Buggs has been arrested for the second time in a month after he's booked on a domestic violence / burglary. Why am I messing that? Can one of you say
burglary?
Burglary.
There you go, Booner.
Burglary.
Charge in Alabama on Sunday morning and release, according to online records. Shows Buggs was released. Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office records show Buggs was released on a $5,000 bond. No further details about the rest were available. Yeah, we always wonder. Remember we had that conversation about Isaiah Buggs? We were at our prior network, too. We were talking about it. And the one thing I was like, man, we were all shouting, let Buggs play, let Buggs play. And we weren't sure why. And now I think we know more about the character side of Isaiah Buggs and that the Lions might have caught on to. Not saying they knew all this, but it further shows that the organization is making the right decisions when it comes to this type of stuff. Remember Buggs, the vocal leader? He was on all the mic'd up things, hyping the team up, and he was solid. He was like the vet. Now we know. Now we know what happened. And that's why Benito Jones was playing over Isaiah Buggs.
Very fine, Benito Jones.
He felt he did his role. He did his role.
That's surprising, man. I didn't even hear about that. I mean, he's obviously, if you're the Chiefs, you release him. And then if at that point, there's just so much out on him that I don't know if there's going to be another team that picks him up because he's not like he's been a productive player throughout his career.
No.
So it might just be the end of the road for him.
You know what? It kind of makes me, it makes you a little I don't want to say not relief because it's such a bad situation, but more so it's like there were those questions like what was going on with Bugs last year. And I know during the season, everyone was like, why aren't they playing Bugs? Why isn't he active? What's going on? Like he should be playing. And at some points when he did play the year before, he made an impact. So you're wondering like what's going on. They're bringing in all these other, these old guys and Benito Jones is getting a run at it. And you're like, what is going on with this? Now and it's like, it gives you a little bit of a clear mind. Like just trust what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they've got a control on their football team and their organization more than any team probably in the NFL. They is anytime you start doubting it or not, just think about situations like this to where when you're questioning like, why isn't Bugs playing? Why is he always not active? What's going on? And you kind of have now you start looking back like, okay, maybe there were things going on that we didn't know about or things with him that you're like, this might like, whether it's, the culture thing or an attitude, I don't know what it is, but like you look back at it now, you're like, I trust now everything that Brad and Dan do because they're doing it for a reason. So looking back now, you get that feeling a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was weird.
Be swapping places with Matty Betts coming from British Columbia. I mean, that's where Isaiah Bugs might find his new home. Lions bring in Matty Betts, empty roster spot, insert Isaiah Bugs.
Shout out Matty Betts, man.
CFL legend to be.
Maybe a little bit of a revival if he goes and plays in the CFL. A little CFL action for
maybe like the Ndamukong Suh of the CFL.
Mike Scano. I'm gonna go with that. I think I pronounced that right. Or Mike S. No. We'll go with Mike S. No. Yeah, that's how you say it. Or Mike Scano, whatever. Appreciate you for joining. I don't think I've ever seen Mike in here, so appreciate your presence. He says, yeah, Brad and Dan really seem to have a strong pulse and everything going on with this team, and their players love the attention to detail. He's spot on there, Mike. And that's why us as people that cover the team and cover the NFL in general, we have a lot of speculation. But sometimes I know it's easy to say, we'll just trust the process. And this scenario is definitely trust the process. So, that's fair. Alan W., this isn't an excuse for the behavior, but I think the amount of head injuries in the game is super overlooked. So many players do dumb shit like this. Well, I think I'm not a doctor, but I don't think you're in some instances, I don't think Alan's too far off.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely somewhat. You're going to be a little wobbly when it comes to your emotions for sure. Because even guys like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I feel like if you were to meet Richard Sherman, like in person, I feel like he'd be a solid dude. But then you see all these things behind the scenes of him just obviously just crashing out. He's in a different state of mind. So I'm sure it's a lot more frequent than if not.
Yeah. And then ETN says Antonio Brown is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Keep him away from the Detroit Zoo at all costs.
It's such an interesting thing that all like this is all coming out, like things are happening now. It's just I would have loved to know what was going on in the Detroit Lions locker room with him. I don't like if it was.
Yeah, I'm curious too. They don't let anything out.
He was probably just not like a culture fit. Like when it comes down to it, like in big games, you got to be able to trust the guy to the left and right of you. And if there was players on that team that just didn't have a connection with Isaiah Bugs and the defensive line was already kind of weak in some spots and there really wasn't a gap or big gap in talent between him and the next guy, you're going to go with the guy that plays better with everybody and just more connected to the team that helps things keep moving instead of waiting it up. Like every time Isaiah Bugs wasn't playing, you heard about it. Like Isaiah Bugs was vocal about it. And I'm sure that didn't help his case whatsoever. I'm sure if he would have just been like, all right, let me take my time. They're telling me I can't play. Why am I not playing? What am I doing wrong? But instead he's going on social media, making a scene, putting a spotlight on it. And I guarantee Dan and Brad, that's the last thing they want.
Yeah, that's what actually, now that I think about it, there were some tweets and things that happened throughout the season, like early in the season. When that happens, especially in the Lions locker room, Brad and Dan instantly are like, we're not doing that. Not happening. And you could tell they pull it in really quick, and they dealt with that quick. So,
well, I'll tell you what, fellas. I mean, I know one guy who is a culture fit, absolute culture fit, a lot of grit with this individual. He does a very, very good job on his own channel, which you guys, I'm sure, tune into all the time. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. Own MicroMike. Mike, how you doing today? Welcome to the
show. I am alive, but that epic intro you did for me is a lie. I am terrible content creator. I'm a loser, failure, and I like to sleep all day. Long sleeps on the couch and scratch my 2 points of contact.
It's fair, Mike. Well, Mike,
you hold himself accountable in some ways, just a little too much.
Absolutely.
You put out fine content, Mike. Very good content producer. You wouldn't be on this show if not.
Well, that's a good thing. At least I'm.
Well, Mike, even for laying on the couch and scratching your ass, you're doing pretty well for yourself. All right, you're doing pretty well, Mike. And I want to ask you to start off here. I know you've been making a ton of content just like we are about just the OTAs and minicamp. I want to ask you to start just some couple of the favorite storylines from training camp. I know we'll get into specifics, but anything that stood out to you specifically that you'd like to bring up first, or maybe a topic you've been talking the most about on your show, maybe a positional group or a player?
Positional group, the DBs there, Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold had a pretty good OTAs and minicamp, and it's really good to see these guys get together and kind of lock down the sides of the corner. You look at last year with Cam Sutton, Kendall Vildor, Will Harris, whoever the hell was out there. It was an absolute train wreck, and now you're seeing Carlton Davis, who we traded for, and a lot of people's like, oh, he's not a good player. He's doing really good in minicamp and OTAs, and then you got Terrion Arnold, who is right there with them. And it's a nice combination that we're seeing right now in the practices. And it is a great piece of news as we head towards training camp.
Yeah, Mike, I guess a lot of the talk too coming out of OTAs, minicamp, at least for me, I'll be the one to admit it, at least to me, is like the wide receiver room. And we've heard even Ben Johnson, different people come out and say like, that's something, I think it was actually Randall L. I think he came out and said that he expects like this is going to be a work in progress here with the wide receivers. What are your expectations here after minicamp and OTAs ended a training camp with this offense? I know it's been top 5 for the back-to-back years, but do you think some of these back-end wide receivers step up, DPJ, these guys, and then obviously the other weapons on the offense kind of just keep improving?
Yeah, you look at this depth here and you're trying to wait for somebody to break out that is, that we generally don't talk about. And there's actually one player that's rising right now. How about Darius Fountain, wide receiver? He's shown a lot of promise in OTAs and minicamp. And what I'm hearing, he probably could make it over Antoine Green. So that's a really intriguing matchup, if you ask me, because look, we need help at the wide receiver, and Fountain, he's a big body, kind of like Josh Reynolds, 6'2", near 205, 210 pounds. That's a big body guy. So if he's doing this in OTAs and minicamp, and if he continues this in preseason, we got a big body guy that no one really talked about potentially making this roster. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I like him. We haven't heard really too much. He's doing okay. Khalif Freeman is doing good. I think Jameson Williams is the other wide receiver everybody's watching. He's making big catches, but he made some drops. I do see him getting better, though, in his route running physicality. So I'm not too worried about Jameson Williams. I think the wide receiver battle is going to be fun at the very end. I'm really looking at Darius Fountain and see if this guy can make it and be an unexpected 53-man roster candidate.
And Mike, staying with the receiver room, but shifting out of Detroit and looking over at San Francisco. I don't know if you guys saw the video that was released today, but Brandon Aiyuk, he was on the phone with Jaden Daniels, and he pretty much said, and you can't confirm it, but referring to the 49ers, and Jeff, if you want to play the video, he says that they don't want him back. So when you see this, Mike, we'll play the video. What do you think when it relates to the Lions and the possible loss of Brandon Aiyuk on the 49ers?
Let's play it real quick. Let's react to it. Let's play it.
He got me vlogging this shit.
Bro, what?
Bro.
They said they don't want me back. I swear. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I think because you could tell, like, even under the post when it was under, like, you could tell, like, he was emotional. Like, the video kept going. He was like, it's tears. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm emotional, but you could tell, like, he's tore up about it. So I think it's legitimate.
It's a good thing, Mike, for the Lions. Good thing.
Great thing. And in San Francisco, they better do something quick because good old Brock Purdy is going to be getting a mega contract at some point. All these nice little elements that they have in this team, like hey, Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel and Smith and every damn good player that they have in their team, they're going to start to lose it. And I love that Brandon Aiyuk is not wanted back. I pray that every content creator in San Francisco just takes a big old dump on their team and pray that they get rid of this guy. It'd be great. Look, we're looking at the San Francisco 49ers. That's the teams that we're matching up with. And if Aiyuk, maybe he doesn't play. I don't know. But if he's not there, that's significant for the Lions for the whole season. And, of course, when we face the San Francisco 49ers, they can't pay everybody. And this is what we've been waiting for this damn team, is their quarterback, get the mega contract, and welcome to the real world of the NFL. Aiyuk can't get paid. I truly hope this is the case, because San Francisco, anytime they lose talent, it's a plus for the Lions.
Yeah, well said, Mike. I'll ask you this, because it's something to kind of foreshadow for the season. Booner asked a question. I thought it was a really good question. How many All-Pros, he asked us, for both sides of the ball? I think the number we came up with for offense, and I know it's a lot to kind of process right now on the spot, but do you see guys like Frank, Sam, Amon-Ra, these players repeat, Panay, to be maybe Jameer? Do you think All-Pro next season? How many do you have? I know defensively you look at Aiden to potentially make an All-Pro this year. Where are you at with the amount of All-Pros the Lions could potentially have this upcoming season, with some players getting older, more experienced, guys having breakout seasons? Where are you leaning? Maybe any new players you foresee having a breakout season, maybe to jump to that All-Pro? I think Brian Branch could potentially be a candidate. That was one of my guys.
I got 53 players All-Pro. No, the
whole roster.
I think you look at Panay Sewell, definitely going to be an All-Pro. Frank Ragnar, I'd like to put him there. I'm not going to do that due to the injury history for that. I wonder if Zeitler can do it as well. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs could absolutely be All-Pro. I think he's having a big year. St. Brown could be an All-Pro. LaPorta can be an All-Pro. I would love to put Jared Goff there, but you know how they don't do our quarterbacks, so I'm just not going to do that because of the NFL, not because he's not good enough. Aiden Hutchinson, he's on the cusp. There's a lot of good edge rushers, so if he can get 15 or plus 16, maybe he can make that. It's quite difficult, though. Linebackers, I don't see anything. Maybe a Lee McNeil or DJ Reader, potentially one of those guys. In the secondary, Brian Branch, I'm with you. I think he has the potential to do that for sure. Really. Look, I like Terrion Arnold. I like Carlton Davis. I don't know about All-Pro, though. I think that's pretty much it for the Detroit Lions. I think it is.
Yeah, agreed.
I like it. Mike, I want to ask you this. You just mentioned Aiden Hutchinson potentially. It's tough, especially at that position, to take that jump. Last week, I did come out and say that I feel like Aiden Hutchinson this year will win Defensive Player of the Year and make a jump to where you could see him go from whatever 11 and a half all the way up to 15 plus and be in that conversation. I said last week, I think it's some of these awards are awards built on the media and hype, and once you kind of get that momentum, then you start, your name is out front, and that's kind of what happened with Myles Garrett. Do you see that jump happening with Aiden Hutchinson this year? Like, will you hop on? Can I asked someone last week, can I get your endorsement, Defensive Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson in 2024? Or where are you at with that? Do you see that happening?
I agree with you about the news and how they do it with the media. They're generally put the names in there that gets All-Pro. It's kind of a little bit of a popularity contest, so I do agree with you right there. When it comes to Aiden Hutchinson, look, I think he's going to have 15 plus sacks this year. I really do. If you look at his rookie year, he's still got rookie baby muscles, right? He wasn't fully built last year. He built like a tank, but now he's even more, and he's added more pass rushing moves like the spin move that he used at the end of the season as well as in the playoffs that really made it effective. But I think it's more important that when you got a DJ Reader and a Lee McNeil both on the defensive line, it's going to free him up. And we know that he can get pressures. It's just the sacks. But if he gets more free ups, way more than he did last year, then he absolutely should be in that consideration. If he gets 15 plus sacks, that's got to be in the conversation, right, of Defensive Player of the Year. If he gets 16, 17 up there and he's matching with somebody else, maybe a Nick Bosa, it should be. It's going to be difficult. It's hard to get that. But, yeah, you absolutely can get Defensive Player of the Year. Every single season he's grown. He's gotten better, and better, and this is year 3 for Hutch. This is the magical year that we all wait for players, is year 3. I do think it's going to blow up. Could he get that? I'll go like 40%. I'll go 40%. Right?
That's better than zero.
It's better than zero. It's not generally because I think Hutchinson sucks or anything. It's more of, you look at the other teams and who they covet. Nick Bosa is always up there, right? You're always going to have him in there. And apparently I just started snowing in Ford Field here while I'm talking to you. It's quite difficult, but I'll give it a 40%.
Hey, the Aiden Hutchinson stuff. You should have said 100 and it wouldn't have snowed there.
Hey, Jake Bates isn't going to like that,
You
Mike.
jinxed it,
Not going to
Mike.
like the snow.
Master Jake Bates is pretty upset with me with this half snow. He's like, dude, I'm trying to get a 65-yarder, but it's snowing, you a-hole. So
Yeah, Mike, you led into my question. You would have thought Adam Vinatieri signed here last week. The people's champ, Jake Bates. What's your reaction to him joining the potential 53-man roster? Obviously, he's got to prove himself. He's got to go up against the Money Badger and James Turner, who has actually had a really good training camp. But what's your reaction to Jake Bates officially being part of the Lions?
Bates.
slow down. Like, look, I know a lot of people's hyped about it, but he's 17 to 22. He's got a big leg. He's kicked some big kicks, but it's a competition, and he did it for the UFL. Now he's going to have an opportunity to do it in an NFL game in preseason and in training camp. Look, everybody's just writing off James Turner and Michael Badgley, but they've had a pretty good camp or OTAs and mini camp so far, as well as I'm getting a snowstorm here. Look, I'm pumping the brakes just a tad bit. I don't know what in the hell is going on, but I don't know who's going to win, but all I know is I lost.
The snowstorm's killing me, Mike.
Well, you know what, Mike? I got one for you here. The front office, Brad Holmes hired Charlie Adkins from the Cardinals today, and I made a video just kind of talking about why Lions fans should be prepared for Brad Holmes' front office tree. You see it with Adam Peters and with the Commanders, formerly under John Lynch. You see it with Nick Caserio, with the Texans, with the Patriots prior. You see guys being hired away from good organizations, because if I'm another team in the NFL, I'm looking at the Lions going, okay, I want what they have, but I can't get Brad Holmes and I can't get Dan Campbell. That's why assistants are going to be hired away from under Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson being one of them. What do you think about that Brad Holmes front office tree? And I think Mike Disner is a candidate. I think Ray Agnew is a candidate. How far do you think this tree could potentially go, and how much do you think the league, it's a copycat league and people see what the Lions are doing with culture and it's working? Do you agree with that take about a Brad Holmes front office tree spread across the NFL?
Absolutely. It absolutely is going to be happening here. And trends always happen in the NFL. And what the Detroit Lions did, Chris Spielman did, Sheila Ford Hamp, and the rest has got a coach who's former player, who then hired a bunch of former players to help this team. And they've seen how well that worked for the Detroit Lions. I think you're going to see a lot of teams start doing this. Former players becoming more of coaches. You've seen Antonio Pierce over there for the Raiders. You see the Patriots, the Titans, they just fired their former head coach that was a player. But I think you're going to see a trend now where people are going to look at the Lions way and start to say, you know what, that could be something that we go after. And I agree with you with the Lions tree, like a Mike Disner, potentially an Aaron Glenn, right? Ben Johnson's already beloved by many teams. Dave Fitt, pretty good special coordinator. I don't know if he'll ever get a head coach because he's a fucking special teams coordinator. But you look at all the players, as well as, like you said, in scouting, I think you're going to see scouts get poached away a little bit because the Lions are so good with the draft. Anyone close to Brad Holmes, they're seeing the success of the draft. They're seeing the success of getting talent. You're seeing the success of the coaching talent. And other teams, if you're like the Giants or if you're another team out there that's kind of a bottom feeder, look at the Detroit Lions, who had a terrible culture, a terrible franchise for 70, 80 years. And look how they switched it this quick. If they're a team, if I'm an owner, that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. Screw the Patriot way. That was a failure. But if you look at what the Lions did, why not kind of copy that a little bit? Let's start poaching some of these guys. And, thankfully, Ben Johnson wanted to stay here in Detroit. And but it's only a matter of time before we lose these guys and they become coach candidates, general manager candidates, all of that.
I think it's a good thing once you start seeing things like that with coaches in front office. That means we're doing something right. Mike, I want to go back to football a little bit here. With the Lions, just season as a whole, I've been hearing a lot of, and I'm sure you've been hearing the same thing with the Packers kind of competing here with the Lions for the NFC North. And I know we talked about AJ Hawk last week on our show about how he said that it's basically now the Packers division again. And there's just all this, there was a lot with it. I kind of two-part question here. One, I kind of want to know what your early record prediction is for the Detroit Lions. We really haven't asked you that this offseason. And two, where are you at with kind of the Packers competing here with the Detroit Lions? Is that like something that we should seriously be worried about? Or if it's, hey, no, this is still the Detroit Lions division to lose this year?
Hey, man, the media is so funny It's 1 year window and it's over. We're going back to the Green Bay Packers. Well, you got to tell the players on the Lions roster that it's over, and coaching staff that, to me, has one of the best rosters in football, best coaching staff in football. You better tell them that it's over first. I don't think they're just going to give up here. Look, the Packers are a team that we got to watch for in the NFC North. I think they're going to be a good team. They can get to 10 wins for sure. Young talent, Christian Watson with Debo, or not Debo, but Bo over there, and then you got obviously Love over there, and they just got Josh Jacobs over there. They got a good team, but the Lions are better. I have the Lions getting 11 to 12 wins. I do, and I think the Packers are a 10-win football team. But all these people saying the Packers are as automatically, I think what Mike Greenberg did that as well. It's kind of a joke. I mean, we have been outdoing the Packers again and again. And again, they wanted to get they wanted to get that kicker, Jake Bates. The Detroit Lions got him. They wanted Terrion Arnold. The Lions traded up to get him, pissed off the general manager. Oh, Brian Branch. We keep screwing the Packers, so screw the Packers. The Lions are going to win this division again and be a good football team. Romeo Dobbs, that's what it was, not Doob.
Love
Either
way.
way.
And I think another spot where the Lions definitely got the Packers is taking players out of Iowa. You look at the Packers, Lucas Van Ness, great pick. Yeah, not so much. But then you look at Sam LaPorta, you look at Jack Campbell. I look at Jack Campbell, there's a lot of hype around him. What do you think the path for him to reach that? Because I think we've all talked about it. We think he can be a Pro Bowl caliber type of linebacker this year, but what do you think needs to happen in order for him to reach that potential?
Jack Campbell, he's got all the physical tools. We all know. We all scouted him before the draft of last year's draft. He's big. He's sideline to sideline. He's good in tackling. He just needs to get more playing time. To me, that's really it. Yeah, I think he's on the right trajectory. Gets more playing time, and look, if he continues to improve, maybe he'll be LB2. Him and Derek Barnes are going to fight it out, but really, all he needs is time. I know that's may not be what people want to hear, but each game he's going to get better and better. And I mean, hearing in OTAs and minicamp of how much he has improved. I don't know how much he's improved, but he has improved. So give this guy snaps. That's really it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, he's just improving each game here. He's not a bust or anything. I think everybody got caught up with the three rookies that did so good last year, and Gibbs, LaPorta, and Branch, that they forget that sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get better, and they slowly worked him in. I mean, we've seen the Saints game where he played Mike linebacker. He did really good job. I think that's more of his position, but right now just playing time. That's it. I think, when Alex Anzalone eventually leaves, he'll be the Mike guy, and who knows who else is going to be with him. Just time. That's it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time, Mike. And you guys can go check out his stuff. Lions Talk by Chad Sports. Links in the description. Mike, we always appreciate you joining the program. It's always a blast. I can't wait till you're able to join during the season. I know it's been a ride, and you've been supporting us every step of the way here. I know it's the off season, but come the season, it's going to be exciting. But we appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Look, it's the off season right now. We got about a month and a half, a lull period. If you're a Lions fan, take some time with the family, do something. I'm going on vacation for a week here on Thursday, so the videos will be dropped for everybody. But take some time and enjoy it, because as we know, Crunch Time Crew, it's about to get really, really crazy here soon, and we're gonna be busy, all of us.
Football season's always busy. Appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah, no doubt. There you go. MicroMike, the man.
Mike's right. And I haven't told the people yet. I'm going on vacation this week too. I'll be gone Thursday, Friday, and Monday from the show.
Oh, yeah.
First vacation in 3 years since starting in this profession. So I can't wait. There's no boo to that.
No, good. No
vacation. I've been grinding.
No, boo. You have a good time. You deserve it, Boone.
June and July are the time to take vacations, because come September.
Last year, August, I worked 7 days a week from August until February, and it was 6 a.m. until midnight every single day for however many months I was. I haven't been on vacation since 3 years ago. I went to Miami. Now I'm going to New York City, Yankee Stadium, everywhere.
Shout out.
I haven't been to New York in about 12 years, so I'm going to New York City.
I've never even been.
Maybe I'll zoom into the show on a night at like Yankee Stadium or something.
Yeah.
I'll zoom in.
I like New York to if you visit and then you leave, maybe like 2-3 days, you leave.
Yeah, it's like a 4-day trip.
Yeah, once you're hanging around in New York, and you see some interesting things over there. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting.
I do want to see one of those rats. I really do. Like, I hate rats, but I'm just interested to be like, dude. Or though, like, I saw a video the other day of it. It had to be like a 2-foot long rat. Like, the thing was just, I don't know what they put in the water over there, man, but it's just.
I'll take some pictures. If I see them, I'm taking pictures and sending them right through.
Yeah.
You can use those as like guard dogs. Like if you don't want a dog, you just let those things roam around. Like I'd be more scared of one of those giant ass rats running at me than like a mid-sized dog. If you have a golden retriever, I'm more scared of that fucking rat for sure.
Yeah.
1000%. Master Splinter running at you? No way. No way.
Shout out to Ed Andrews, became a member earlier. Ed, we appreciate you. Thank you. Wasn't able to get to it. Also, Spirit of Detroit podcast. Thank you for the $2, my man. He says, "Have Mike out. When can get on?" I think he meant, "When can I get on?" Spirit of Detroit. I checked out your content, man. I see you grinding over there. Keep grinding. Maybe towards the season, we'll have a lot more collabs with other content creators. Yeah. So, but we appreciate you, man. He's always in the chat, showing love to at least me personally. I know you guys as well. Back to our prior employer there. So, Spirit, I appreciate you, brother. We'll make it happen at some point. But boys, I know we kind of teased it earlier because we showed Mike the video of Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah.
He's out of there. I mean, they extended Juwan Jennings. They drafted Ricky Pearsall, your guy. Very good player.
They did exactly what Klotz would have done. I'll tell you that much. Keep going. Keep going, though.
John Lynch and Klotz, I don't know if you guys are talking on the phone. You're not telling us exactly everything you know.
You saw Juwan Jennings almost win Super Bowl MVP, and he's like,
he did go off.
Dude, he's a weapon, man. He's a weapon.
When you first told me about Juwan Jennings, I was like, because I knew about Juwan Jennings. When I first heard your love for Juwan Jennings, I'm like, oh, it's interesting. You were right. That dude can play. And they extended him. They love him. And, Brandon Aiyuk wants Amon-Ra money. He wants that money. I don't know. No one's getting Justin Jefferson money until the next one who's close in talent. But I'm sure he wants Amon-Ra St. Brown money. No way in hell I'm paying Brandon Aiyuk that. And he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. But someone else can pay that money. And I'll take the assets that I'll get from trading him. How much?
They're not going to get a lot for him, by the way. They won't.
No, because he needs a contract.
No, because it's the same thing. What's his name? Who got traded? Who was the franchise tag player that just got traded? L'Jarius Sneed. Remember when the Lions fans, we were all talking about it, and everyone in Detroit was like, "You're going to have to give up a first, a second. You're going to have to give this up." And then what did he go for?
A third, or maybe even a fourth.
Yeah, and literally it was just a third. And then once they trade him, there was already a contract in place. All that's going to happen with Brandon Aiyuk, and what people don't realize too, Brandon Aiyuk, the Jaden Daniels situation, they played together. And I didn't realize Brandon Aiyuk was this young, to be honest. They played together at Arizona State. So that whole timeline, like that whole conversation, that's all going to honestly, guys, I think the Commanders are going to end up getting him because they have Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal. They have Jahan Dotson on a rookie deal. You have Terry McLaurin, who I don't know what his contract is, but I don't think you need to extend him right now. He might want money, but you don't need to worry about it.
He already got paid. He's like 29 too.
Yeah, and it's easier for a team. And I'm pretty sure the Commanders have like $30 or $40 million in cap space right now. So they have the money to be able to spend. And the thing too is like the difference between the 49ers spending and the Commanders is the 49ers are 2 years ahead with Brock Purdy. And Jaden Daniels just became a rookie. So you have potentially 5 years of a rookie deal with a quarterback where you could say, hey, Brandon Aiyuk, we'll trade for you a third-round pick. We'll give you $30 million, what you want for the next 4 years. So then when, we have to pay Jaden Daniels all of this money, we don't have to worry about that contract anymore. We can figure that out in 4 years. So I think that you guys already know I've been high on the Commanders. I think if they get Brandon Aiyuk, that makes that offense that much better. Like that's a good team. That's a good team in the NFC now. All of a sudden, like just like that. That's my opinion. I'm not like obviously like to win the NFC.
I think they'd be like a 500. Like they'd be like you don't want to go in there sleeping against them type of team.
I wouldn't be shocked if they go win 9 games and you're like, whoa, they won 9 games. No, they have a good Dan Quinn. The defense that he puts out there. No, I would not. If they got Brandon Aiyuk, I would not be shocked. Would not be shocked.
I just think there'd be a lot of mouths to feed for a rookie quarterback because they did just get Jahan Dotson, your point, Terry McLaurin, and then they just got Austin Eckler. And if you guys didn't see what he said, it baffled me. But he was like, the Chargers wanted a guy that gets 200 to 300 carries. I'm not that. That's not how Austin Eckler works. So he's going to be getting a lot of work out of the backfield.
It's not too many mouths to feed in Chicago though. With Caleb
I think when you look at it, I just think
same thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed, but again, if you look at Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, those guys have been around the league for a long time. Brandon Aiyuk has been a veteran, but then you look at Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin has been, but he's never really won anything. I just think it'd be a situation that they'd be better, but I don't think it makes them. I think they're a 6-7 win team. I don't think getting Brandon Aiyuk makes them 2 to 3 games better because defensively is their worst, especially in the secondary.
That's really where I'm at, Booner. I agree with you, actually, Booner. Obviously, Brandon Aiyuk makes them better. It's just their defense, man. That's where I'm really looking at. Like their secondary too. And I drafted Mikey Sanders still, which we all love. We all love Mikey. He's going to be a really good player. But at least the Bears have a really good defense, so.
But when has though like Dan Quinn put out a bad defense ever?
I
always
agree.
finds a way.
He's a great defensive guy. I just think talent obviously helps too. It's the same thing with AG. I'm not saying they're not comparing, but we always bring up with AG needs the talent. Like I don't think Dan Quinn can make. He could. You could be right, Boone. He might be able to make chicken salad with chicken. You know what? But I don't know. They got some decent pieces. They drafted Jazan Newton too. They had a pretty good draft, to be honest with you. They really did.
I just think they will be a good team, Boone. I just think not this year. I still think they got a lot of chemistry to do. There's rarely a time when you go in there with a rookie coach or a rookie quarterback. I know Dan Quinn's not a first-year head coach, but he's going back to head coaching again. New GM, new everything. They usually don't pan out right away. I think there's going to be some struggles, but they're going to be a good team. I agree with you. Like I do like Jaden Daniels. If he can stay healthy, I think he can be a good quarterback. It's just his frame is so small that I worry about him being able to stay healthy.
What was it? What were they last year? They were 4-13. See, I just think that improves instantly.
It does. It does.
Yeah, they do. They will.
I think that's a team in the next 2 or 3 years with Jaden Daniels, especially like if they end up signing Brandon Aiyuk, trade for him, they're gonna have to give him a 4-year deal. And then instantly, I think for the next 4 years, they've already played together. And I'm a big Terry McLaurin fan. Jahan Dotson, he showed spurts last year.
Jahan Dotson is good.
And as much as people hate, he's great. And as much as people hate Austin Eckler, I do think that's just another piece to where you're like, okay, we have another really good NFL player. And then you just have to build that defense. It's a young defense, but if you get the pieces like in the next 2 or 3 years,
they're all
that's scary.
It's just the reason why I kind of
sorry. You can go.
I would say I think they're a 7-win team. Like I'd bet on that over. I just think the Commanders' strength right now is their receiving core. So they're making their strength stronger. But I don't think that makes them 2 games better because they're still not addressing their weaknesses. You know what I mean? That's why I'm just like, eh. But I do. They're going, as far as they're going to be a good team, Booner. Like I agree with you. They're not a team that I think they'll sweep New York and they'll split with Dallas. And they might be able to give Philly some trouble because they usually do. So they're definitely within their division. That's not a team that anybody wants to sleepwalk against.
It is big though. Let's be honest. As much as we do like the pieces the 49ers have added with Ricky Pearsall and the moves, that's a big loss for them though. Huge. That was their guy the second half, basically the whole season last year. So them losing him, you're not guaranteed Ricky Pearsall is going to be what Brandon Aiyuk was. So you're coming into there now and you're like, you could do that. Let's.
That's just my guy. That's just my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah. Let's narratives. Put narratives in the closets for now. This is not good. This is good for the Detroit Lions if this happens because that makes the 49ers. Think about that, guys. They lose their number 1 wide receiver, the Brandon Aiyuk. We lose our number 2 in Josh Reynolds. We're good.
And we gained the CB1 too. That's what I pull away from the most. You're losing the guy that Carlton Davis would have to cover. So now. I mean, honestly, you don't line Debo out wide that much. Juwan Jennings is a guy that they can line out wide. Ricky Pearsall, I don't know how they're going to work that. But at the end of the day, Carlton Davis is probably going to have a very favorable matchup, and so will Terrion because then he's going to be on their wide receiver too. So it's going to be a game where, especially with how deep they are at safety, Aaron Glenn can run a lot more blitzes and try to put more pressure on Purdy, which end of the day is how you beat him because Brock Purdy's very good while unprotected. He's kind of like Jared Goff, but once he starts getting hit, he starts getting that deer in headlights look, and he starts throwing wild balls, and that's where the turnovers happen. That's how you beat the 49ers.
Is it shocking to you guys, though? I would rather keep Brandon Aiyuk than Debo, I think, personally.
Yeah, 1,000%.
At this point, it's
a shocking move.
Up a lot. The thing I just want to ask is if a ball happens to bounce off Carlton Davis's head, will Ricky Pearsall catch it? I think the Lions. I think we're good. I think
that's not even going to happen. That's not even going to be happening. There's no way that happens.
I think they're good. This definitely helps the Lions. Although the 49ers still have talent, but now, like you just nailed, Lucas, I was going to bring that up, is he is a true X. What do you kind of do now? It's like Devo's not really, he's just an all-around weapon, can't stay healthy, but who's filling that void? I don't.
It's tough.
I don't know. Ricky Pierce, you're going to hope that Ricky can line up outside and just get work done.
I don't think he can, though. I'm a big Ricky Pearsall guy, but he's not a type of guy that you line up outside. But at the end of the day, Brandon Aiyuk coming into the league, he wasn't. He was pretty much a slot guy at ASU. He'd have big plays, but he wasn't like a X guy. They developed him a lot. So I don't know. Jawan Jennings is definitely going to be outside most of the time, I'd imagine.
By the way, another news too as well. T. Higgins going back to he's showing up. Yeah. Got the franchise tag signed.
The Patriots should trade for him. Just get whatever the Bengals want. Just get Drake May a number one.
I think the Falcons should too.
I don't think anyone's going to trade
him
for
and Drake London.
He's going to be a free agent next year.
Yeah.
Then give him a bag.
I think they want to try and win a Super Bowl with the Bengals this year. They're going to try and make a run at it, and they're like, just one more year, T. Come on.
Yeah,
I think
he could be a Cardinal too.
That would be tough.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. And Marv's under contract. They can get that done.
He'd want to go be a 1 though. I bet.
That's the guy at a certain point. Yeah, at a certain point, honestly, he feels like a player that would just go to a Carolina because he's just a clear 1.
I'm with you.
Like a team like that, as tough as that sounds, or a Tennessee or something like that. It just feels like that's a type of team he would end up going with, so he could be a number 1 and go and get his numbers up real quick. Which would suck because I want him up. Whatever the franchise tag is, I don't know what it is for wide receivers this year. I can look it up.
Before we're going to transition here, you can bring it up.
I think it's 21 million. It looks like 21.8 for the year.
We're going to transition here. We're going to do Overreaction Monday come the NFL season here on Crunch Time Sports. We're going to do it every single Monday, just something we take away from the weekend and something overreaction. But until that point, we're going to do something every single Monday from now on that is basically an NFL season prediction every single Monday. So we're going to give something every Monday. It could be a player. It could be a team. It could be maybe a coach. It could be anything regarding the NFL every single Monday, one from each of us in the chat. Feel free. Give a take. It could be anything. It could be a team falling short in the playoffs, a team winning the Super Bowl, a player going off, a player regressing, whatever it is. And we're going to get to it. Booner, you're going to start.
Oh, I'm starting? Oh.
You don't want to start?
No.
Okay,
yeah,
Lucas,
Jeff, I know you align with this, but I'm sorry.
It could be all NFL too, by the way.
It's going to be my narrative. It's going to be my narrative. Caleb Williams will not be winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year. It will be Marvin Harrison. I think when you look at the situation in Arizona and you look at just who has won the award in the past, it's just written for Marvin Harrison. For everything that you thought Marvin Harrison was, he's going to be in Arizona. Now, I don't think that's going to translate into them winning games, but as far as Marvin Harrison being the best player as a rookie in this year's draft class, I think offensively he is that. And Caleb Williams will be a good quarterback. I'm not denying that. I think he'll have success as a rookie, but it won't be near the level that Marvin Harrison will. I think Marvin Harrison year 1 will be a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. I just don't see any flaws in his game whatsoever.
I'm going to be honest. I don't even really disagree with that. I don't really disagree, to be honest. I wish I could, but no. Truly, I think you nailed it. It just so happens that a generational wide receiver just came out of college. So, I don't hate that at all. I don't. I wish I could sit here and just go at you. I do think there is a slight of quarterback favoritism, but that would have to be historic.
What do you mean?
I think with that award, sometimes quarterbacks, they can lean, but knowing Marvin, he is going to make these voters be like, oh yeah, this guy.
Did you see, I think it wasn't maybe last year. I think the year before he was playing against Youngstown State and he was because you don't think about Marvin Harrison and his speed. You just think he's a very polished wide receiver, but he was the fastest player on college football and in the NFL that weekend. So people forget how this man is built at 6'4", but he's probably going to be one of the top 5 fastest wide receivers in the league. Oh, yeah, and he plays like he's 6'8", not 6'4". And he runs route just like his dad. He's going to be a monster. I think he's going to be Justin Jefferson, but a little bit better. I think he's just exactly what he is, but more polished.
I think he could put up 1,300 yards year one. I mean, he is that
because they're going to be losing games.
Yeah, they're going to throw a lot.
What Jonathan get shots, explosive. Yeah. That's going to be Marvin Harrison.
You see the? I don't even know why I'm asking you guys. You probably didn't because no one has. I'm weird. I saw the Cardinals YouTube. They did a behind the scenes in the draft video, and they called with the Monty, who the GM of the Cardinals, which I actually kind of like. I did
actually watch this today.
You did?
Yeah, because it was in an article that we had linked. I watched like the first 5 minutes of it.
You see him talk to Marvin on the phone. He's like, I need you to do 3 things. Get open, catch the ball, and let's win some games. And Marvin's like, yes, sir. I'm like, yes, sir. This guy is he's a robot, Marvin. They got to start.
He was built to play wide receiver.
And he has his little brother. His little brother's supposed to be better than him.
Oh, jeez. There's another one. Okay.
I'm pretty sure
he'll be a Buckeye too. There'll be a Buckeye too.
Man. He's another one. All right. Well, I'll go. And this is my take. I'm going to start it off with I think one that Lions fans will appreciate, but it's something that I've said before, but I'm going to reiterate right now. Okay.
All right.
My take for the 2024 NFL season is the Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs.
I thought you were going to say win the NFC East. I was going to get
miss the playoffs. They're going to go 8-9, 8-9, miss the playoffs, and Mike McCarthy will be fired. That is my
wow.
Ezekiel Elliott won't clear
then they don't have Dan Quinn to hire. He's gone.
Who's the DC now? Do we know?
Ron Rivera.
Actually,
Rivera.
Mike Zimmer.
Great.
Oh, Mike Zimmer. They interviewed Ron Rivera.
I just got two.
You're right. You're right. Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs. Eagles win that division. I think they'll be really close in record with the Commanders. Could be a 2-game difference. But the NFC, a little better. And I think the Dallas Cowboys, I think CD's going to have another great year. But no. I'm going to go with Dallas Cowboys miss the playoffs. Not sneak in, miss the playoffs. Out. And Dak Prescott, go sign somewhere else. Get the hell out of there.
You don't think he'll be in Dallas?
No, they will. They'll get.
I was gonna say, no,
they will. They will. If he hits free agency, some team is going to throw a bag at him. Not saying it's a great idea, but it's going to happen. But yeah, Dallas Cowboys missed the playoffs. Mike McCarthy's fired.
I love it. I like that one, Jeff. I need to make sure I write these down at the end of the show. So I'm writing them down right now. You're writing them down. All right, we'll start a Google Doc and we'll have them. So through the year we can revisit as things start to happen. All right, I've got mine here, fellas. This is a playoff one. I switched it up. The reason I didn't want to go first is I had an original one, and I'm going to save the original one for a different week because I want to be able to back it up a little bit more. But I think Klotz, you might like this one.
All right.
I think you're going to like this one a little bit. I have a team that I think is going to make the playoffs here, and it's in the AFC. And it was just announced today that the AFC North is going to be a part of the Hard Knocks during the season. And I think the AFC North, we could have an argument that this could be a division that has 3 teams make the playoffs in this division. And whether it's 2 or 3 teams, I think this football team is one of the teams that makes the playoffs. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to say my hot take prediction. The Pittsburgh Steelers will make the playoffs in the 2024 NFL season. And I truly believe that. You could boo that.
Bro, that's on me. That's on me, bro. I meant to hit the other one.
Let's try that again. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be in the playoffs in the 2024 season. I just think with Mike Tomlin, and I think this is a thing where, honestly, guys, I can't remember let me see what the record was last year. Actually, I'm just going to double check real quick. I think it was 10-9
win.
Was it 9?
I think the comment. So that means that TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year, most likely?
No, not Defensive Player of the Year, but Aiden Hutchinson. That's why. But this is my point to it. I feel like this football team has gotten better this offseason. I think the upgrade, to be honest, that one of the biggest upgrades they made, and as crazy as this sounds, people might think I'm dumb, but I promise you I'm not. When you see at the end of the season, Russell Wilson at quarterback is an upgrade for them. They had Mason Rudolph for half of the year. Russell Wilson last year, his stats were great. He just couldn't win football games. Now you put him in a Pittsburgh Steelers organization with Mike Tomlin, who knows how to win football games, who puts a defense behind him, and now will give him some weapons to work with. When Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, George Pickens, They did bring in Van Jefferson, but Roman Wilson, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, he got drafted there. They always have a great offensive line, and that defense is going to be one of the best, as always, in the NFL. They just always get better and better and better, and Mike Tomlin always makes sure he puts one on the field. So I don't be shocked, and I'm going to stand on this all year. The Pittsburgh Steelers will make the playoffs this year. It'll probably be a wild card. Yes, it will be a wild card, but they're going to be a 9-8 win team, maybe 10-7. I wouldn't be 10-7. I think gets you in the playoffs pretty comfortably. I think 10-7 wins, and they end up making the playoffs. And I think it's kind of a Russell Wilson comeback season. You may comeback player of the year, maybe. As crazy as that.
Yeah, all right. Now you went too far.
It's not that he's great, but it's when you get put in the right position. The numbers he put up last year, if he wins 10 games last year with those numbers, people are like, oh wow, Russ had a good season. He put numbers up last year. He did not have a bad season.
Russ could never have another positive narrative again in the NFL. I think
I disagree.
Not as far as like a human being. Like I think everyone thinks Russ is a good guy. I'm not saying that, but as far as him being like a bandwagon to jump on, like I think the Russell Wilson bandwagon, like it was in Denver. I think he'll do good, Boone. But I'm saying as far as the comeback player of the year stuff, I don't think he'll.
I think there's going to be a conversation.
Healthy,
that's true.
That's his. And I'm sure there's a couple guys that we're forgetting right now. But
guys, I do think like the Russell Wilson. I don't think he's going to sit out there and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, MVP Russell Wilson's back. Like, you're not going to see that. What I'm saying is this is a guy that's going to take a team that was right on the edge of the playoffs into the playoffs and compete in the playoffs because he's been there before. But it's going to be one of those. If you win a couple playoff games, it's a different Russell Wilson, but he's still a vet. Like he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been to Super Bowls. He's won a Super Bowl. He knows kind of what it takes. Whether he's going to be his old self or not, he is still way older than he was before. Like people don't realize, like Russell's been playing in the league for a long time now. Like he's been in the league now. So like it's a different Russell Wilson, but it's like a guy that could still go out there and win football games. You don't need him to be an MVP. You just need him to be solid.
That's a team that I'd have to look at their financials more, but that's a team I could see making a move for Aiyuk too, because they lost Deontay Johnson. I know they brought in Roman, but to Jeff's point, you can definitely throw Aiyuk on the outside.
No, they're not paying Russ. They are not paying Russ.
Russ is paying. They're getting pennies. Like Russ and Justin Fields combined. Or what were you about to say, Jeff?
I said he's getting paid $2 million. That's what I said.
Oh, I think too much.
Yeah, no, yeah. So to your point, yeah, they're paying him pennies, man.
I think he'd be an upgrade from Deontay Johnson for sure.
I'm excited for the Steelers team. I do think they're going to be really good. I think it starts with that defense and then just upgrade at a quarterback. That's kind of mine. I have another playoff make that I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to do it today.
No, save it. We'll do it next week.
Yeah, I'll save it.
Next week.
Yeah.
It's an exciting one though.
I want to get to the people. I want to welcome in our guy here, Michael Gentry, and we'll let him decide maybe which take he disagrees with the most. Then we're going to get to the chat because I saved a bunch of takes from the chat, some predictions here. We're going to review them and break them down. But please welcome to the show, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Michael Gentry. Gentry!
Gentlemen, how we doing?
What's up, Gentry? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Miss the boys. Oh, Jeff.
Look,
everyone's got a crunch time hat but me and Klotz. What's going on here?
Well, we it just didn't arrive. Maybe it got lost in transit. There's a lot of things,
I want to smack that face off you, Booner. Oh my god,
that's my Shane Gillis face.
My man pulled out the lost.
That was a good one, Boone.
That's my Shane Gillis face.
Well, Mike, what'd you think? We're doing we're doing something every Monday where we give an NFL prediction every single week until Overreaction Monday is live for the NFL season. Lukas said that Marvin Harrison will win Offensive Rookie of the Year over Caleb Williams. I said that the Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs, and Boone said the Steelers will make the playoffs. What do you think?
I like Lukas's a lot. I think that's very viable.
Yeah, you
do. I think Marvin Harrison could very well. It really just depends on Kyler Murray. If he plays up to his standards, his wide receiver 1 is Marvin Harrison.
Don't let him get Clayton Tune, Gentry. Don't let that happen.
They don't want that.
Don't let the Tune to Marv happen. Oh, league would be cooked.
The Steelers making the playoffs is interesting. It's really kind of up to their quarterback situation and how Russell Wilson does. But I think, with the way their defense plays, I think they very well could be. We know Mike Tomlin's a great coach. So, and Jeff, I would love yours. I don't know how true or how likely that is for it to happen, but I do love it. It's very bold.
Let me cook, Mike.
Very bold.
Let me cook. Got to be bold on these prediction Mondays.
There are bold predictions.
Got to be
you boys remember when they were in that Tony Romo era of just mid. What they have? They had a great offense. They had Des Bryant on the outside. They had DeMarco Murray. They had a great Jason Witten. They had all the pieces. Tyron Smith was there. They had all of it. But their defense was just ugh. And I think the defenses of Dallas we've gotten used to. You look at it and you go, ooh, I like that. But I think people are sleeping on the fact that they, for one, lost Stephon Gilmore because Deron Bland gave up a lot of yards. And I know they're bringing back Diggs, but he's another guy that gives up a lot of yards. And all the pressure that's being put on it, DeMarcus Lawrence is not the guy that he used to be. Micah Parsons to go up and be a good player like he's going to be.
Absolutely.
But besides that, you can really point out a couple of holes on this Cowboys roster. And when you look at, we've just talked about even a team that you can't sleep on like the Commanders and how many tools they have. You look at the Eagles. I'm not even going to bring up the Giants because, fuck the Giants. Forget them. They're just a tire burning at this point. But you look around the teams are going to have to play. Offensively, I don't think they're going to be able to keep up, and these teams are just going to be putting points on them, I think. I think Dallas is going to have no answer for a lot of these high-powered teams.
Well, let's get to the people's predictions here. We'll break them down. We'll start.
I'm excited for the people's.
Our first one, Mike says Jahmyr Gibbs wins Offensive Player of the Year. Mike fits Lucas's narrative for the Jahmyr and Booner. They both are high on Jahmyr Gibbs. What do you guys think of this?
I don't think it's this year. For him to win Offensive Player of the Year,
break it down.
It has to be a season where David Montgomery is not there, and pray to God, knock on wood, something happens to him injury-wise. And I just don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think there's just too many mouths to feed compared. I think if you even look at San Francisco right now with no Christian McCaffrey or with no Brandon Aiyuk, potentially Christian McCaffrey is going to go up. I think if you look at Justin Jefferson, I think there's guys that are still better NFL players out there, but I still think he's a player that is the caliber to go out there and do it. But the points that Jeff and Gentry always bring up is David Montgomery's there, and that's going to make a huge impact on that because David Montgomery, I said it once, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 running back, but I think David Montgomery is going to be a top 10 running back. So it's not like there's a huge difference in what those two can do productive-wise. So I don't think it's yet.
I got a message today, or maybe it wasn't today. I just saw it today. It was June 7th. Shout out Ethan. I got a message on Twitter. Sent me a bet slip of a couple bets. One of them, Jahmyr Gibbs plus 3,500 to win offensive player of the year, $50 to win 1,800. I got that. So Ethan, shout out Ethan. If Ethan's watching, shout out.
I'll definitely put a 10 on that. I'll put at least 10 on that.
He's confident in it. So the jump, I think the jump is there. I think the ceiling's there. A couple of weeks ago when we've been having this conversation with the running back room, I've started to lean towards more so of Jahmyr's not going to get more carries than he did last year, but more so touches in the pass game, and because you can't take away carries from D-Mont. And especially like they in the press conference a couple weeks ago, they both came out, or D-Mont came out, said it's the peanut butter and jelly show or whatever he said, and that they want to split carries and they want to make sure both of those guys are healthy for 17 straight games. And they have to do for them to do that, they have to take the load off of each other and make sure that they're not getting too much. So I do think that there is a sense to that. So it's going to be hard. It's just the offense that he's in. Like CMC doesn't really have a secondary guy. I mean, obviously with George Kittle now, but that's like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam LaPorta. But he doesn't have a secondary running back like D-Mont in the room with him to where he's going to go out there and get every single touch out of in the running back room. Jahmyr Gibbs won't, and that's just the mad. It's good for the Lions, to be honest. Like I would rather win a Super Bowl than win that award for the Lions, because that means both of those guys are healthy through the playoffs, whether they play 17 games or not. They're both going to be healthy through the playoffs. Then that if they're splitting carries, and they're both going to be out of like 100% and not as banged up as a Christian McCaffrey in the postseason.
Well, Mike says super fair. Dude's just an absolute weapon. See, Mike is just like you. I mean, Mike, we get where you're coming from there.
I think
go on.
I was the only thing I think that I disagree from you three is I think that Gibbs does get an increase of carries. I don't think it's like dramatic, but I think there is like a
couple of games.
More than you guys. I think you guys expect probably like a 55,
do you think we'll have more
than
Montgomery?
I think he will.
I do think so too. He will take that jump. He should get a little bit more carries, but like I said, you still have to split it to a certain extent and just keep it on it. That's
maybe more 50-50, maybe 60-40, you would even say.
Yeah.
You know, something like that.
It's just you're not going to see D-Mont just take a backseat completely.
No,
That's where I'm at.
Right.
I originally was
stupid to do that.
Yeah, I was originally on the Gibbs train where it's like just give him the ball every time, but D-Mont's going to get his at the end of the day. He's one of the best in the league as well.
We got two here. Shift God and Tyler say CJ Stroud for MVP.
Oh, I don't hate that. I would
either.
sprinkle something on it, to be honest.
What are the odds for that?
He's like the third favorite or something. I think it's not like anything crazy. He's gonna have a chance, especially adding Stephon Diggs. He's for sure. And who do the running back?
Joe Mixon.
He's gonna have a chance. They have a legit offense now.
They still have
Devin Singletary. Yeah.
No.
The rookie from a couple of years ago.
Singletary went to the Giants.
No, the rookie from like a year ago.
You know what I'm talking about, Booner. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I got it right here. Hold on, I'll just pull it up.
Why am I blanking? He was a beast.
Damian Pierce. He's a dog. Damian Pierce is good, dude.
And then he kind of
don't know what happened, man. I loved him. His rookie season, I was like,
that's
the truth. The truth.
I knew
they got Davis Mills at quarterback, and this man's still doing it. I was like, I thought he was him.
Tackles.
Yeah, he ran for 940 yards in like 13 games played.
Yeah. Rad says Jordan Love will be closer to a Baker Mayfield type rather than a top 10 QB after this year. After this year? Okay, so after the season's concluded.
Yeah, I disagree.
Little regression, says. I don't mind.
Can we agree? The Jordan Love stuff, like, are we all here in this? Like, let's all agree for a second. We need to see a little bit more than just like 7 games, right?
What?
Yeah, but I think
Jordan Love
completely confirm it. Yeah, but I think there's also
he's leaning. He's leaning more towards being a good quarterback than leaning more towards being a Baker Mayfield after those 7 games. That's what I'll say. You still need to see more, but he's not Baker Mayfield-esque.
It's not just the 7 games and like the numbers he put up, to me at least. I think if you watch just the poise that he had towards that last stretch of the season, the arm angles, the mobility he had, the spots that he was putting the football in, like he was just in a rhythm.
He looked good.
And I think, to your point, Booner, I think he won't be able to do that through all 17 games of next year, but I think he can do that through 12 games. And
if he does that,
doesn't mean they win all 12. But
if he does that through 17 games, he's in the MVP conversation.
I agree. So that's why I don't think he's
where. Do you think if he continues to do that? I don't think he does. So I do think it's like, for me at least, I want to see how the first like 10 games of this season goes before I start to really make my like stamp on his career. Like, what is he going to be in his career? You have to see it.
What I saw on Thanksgiving just scarred me, and it wasn't just because it was how it was the throws that he was making and how it, like the platforms that he was. It's just throws that I would say 85% of the rest of the NFL couldn't make.
It is so funny, guys.
He was
thinking about it that Jeff has gone to so many like Lions games, and he's like, I don't know if Jeff's ever seen them win a game in person. Like, it's gotten to a point to where there's literally a narrative that he can't go to a game. I just think that's one of the funnier things of all time.
You know,
like,
it's
to
funny.
have that around
the last game I saw that was a win. What was it?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm bad luck too. Every time I go, they lose. I went to.
They've only won when I go. They've won. They're like 3-0 since I've gone.
I think the last game I saw it was when Matt Patricia was the coach and Matt Stafford played the Giants and Danny Dimes played. And I had a buddy from New York come in. Shout out Sully. And we went to the game and the Lions beat the Giants. That was what, 2018 maybe, like 20.
Damn.
I just think it's so funny that we got to a point where it's like, dude, you like know, like the fan base knows Jeff cannot go to games. That like I kind of feel bad just like you being in that position. Like if that was me, I'd be like, this sucks. Like I could never go to a game again.
Jordan Love, like I'm with my dad. I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Dude played his best game. Like the first play, just dot to Watson.
That was like his like I'm here moment. Like this is like I've adjusted the NFL. This is why I got drafted behind Aaron Rodgers. Like this is why they left Aaron Rodgers in the dust and they wanted me to beat the Lions.
Well, like, you know the Dallas game. I think Jeff. I think I was with you and Easy at B-Dubs in Royal Oak for the Dallas game, and he was just. I mean, wasn't that? I think it was that game, and just cutting people up. I mean, maybe it wasn't that game. I don't know, but
he was going crazy.
He threw that pick late, but before the whole game, he was.
Oh, that was the 49ers game, actually. I apologize.
The 49ers game, like outside of that really bad pick. Like, I'm not going to say that. Like, he was
did that a few times though during the season.
Think about how young that team was. Think about all the things that were going on with that team, and Jordan Love was keeping them in right there with the
Aaron Jones too.
49ers.
He threw multiple interceptions when the game on the line last year. Shout out to Meek Robertson on the Raiders.
Dad with Tourette's says, I got a hot take. I'm an MSU slappy who hates Michigan, but Junior Colson will finish top 3.
Love that. Yes, I love that. I think he's going to be big on the Chargers. Huge.
A lot of tackles for Junior Colson.
No, I do think Junior Colson's going to be like instant come in and just be an absolute dog. Like instantly 100 tackle season as a rookie. And I don't think that's crazy to say.
There's a lot of good players for defensive rookie of the year, but top 3, that would still be good for, him being a linebacker. I think he comes in and he makes an immediate impact. Jim knows what he got in junior, so that's a steal of a pick for the Chargers.
No, go on, Boone. I don't mean to interrupt you. Go on.
I would say they have Jesse Minter too, who Junior Colson,
he's a great coach.
Played under for a little bit, so he's going to have 100+ tackles this year.
Illinois McGee, who actually joined the chat, I think last week, and he's back, so appreciate you for joining. I believe he's a Bears fan. He says, my bold prediction is Lions finish third in NFC North behind Bears and Packers. Well, I would ask you, Illinois, did Jared Goff get injured week 1? I think that matters in this scenario. If he's healthy, and thus his defense is the worst defense in history, or everybody goes down, I think that's also a possibility. Everyone just gets hurt. I do not believe it would happen, but it is a bold prediction. So hey, it is what it is. I want to know who he has first and second. Can you comment that for us? Who's first, Bears or Packers, and who's second?
I'm assuming, I would hope to God it'd be the Packers at least. I don't see the path for the Bears winning their division.
That would be
rookie quarterback. Not going to happen.
There is no path.
That would have to be historic. Like Caleb would have to be
Stroud.
The best, better. Like,
it's a better division.
Probably probably the best rookie to ever exist. But for that, but maybe not because they have a good defense, but he have to play really well, like barely any picks, take care of the ball. Swift has a breakout year. Like they need some things to fall their way.
That would be the thing that I think even that would piss me off more than Caleb being like, if he were to be like the number 1 rookie of all time, DeAndre Swift breakout season would piss me off more.
Like that 1,200 yards.
Oh my God. I was getting mad when he was in Philly for a little bit, but they weren't winning games towards the end, so I didn't care. But if he did that in Chicago, especially like against the Lions, like went off, I'd be so mad. He's gonna look so ugly in a Chicago uniform.
Oh yeah, he did last year. He had a good year last year. Like that was his best year. Whatever. Like the most he ever rushed in Detroit was 600 yards, and he rushed for over 1,000 in Philly. Like he doubled his production in Philly in 1 year. So that was a little heart wrench.
Well, we'll get to one more here, and then we're gonna get to Mike's because Mike's gonna give his. I can't wait for this. And Mike's bold prediction here. Jesse Adams.
KJ McCarthy, Rookie of the Year.
Boone.
Jesse's Boone. You guys, man, the fanboy club, man. Jack Campbell makes second team All Pro. Okay.
He'll be a Pro Bowler.
13+ TDs this year.
Ironic.
Lions
That's an interesting one.
Special team score over 4.5 TDs this year. Wow, that's
I fucking like that line. I love that line. You think special teams probably get like 2 maybe, but I think when you look at it, they get a forced fumble, like sack, safety, whatever, like pick 6 or 2. I'd go over on the 4.5 because their special teams unit got better.
How many last year?
Special teams. Last year, I don't even know if they had 1. I don't know. As far as on special teams, defensively, they had at least 2 because they had the Hutch to end the game. They had Branch pick 6.
The Hutch to end the game was not a touchdown, though.
Oh, good point. Good point. That'd be safety. So 1.
Just the Brian Branch pick 6, I think.
Yeah.
I would honestly, I don't want to say under, because it sounds bad, but the 5 is a lot. Like that's the only reason I would take the over was because of the new kick return rule. I do think there's going to be multiple kick returns for touchdowns with that.
I think too.
That's the only thing. Maybe a pick 6 or 2. Yeah.
I see. Rad. Oh.
Shout out.
Yeah, come on, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff.
Speak on it, Jeff.
President of the Kyle Pitts fan club.
Why we got it? Why this is the tough part about giving some of these takes is, you give a take like this and now you really are, you and that player are tied to the hip accordingly, essentially. So yeah, I like Kyle Pitts. I don't hate it. Rad, go off, Rad. I like it. Talk your shit.
That is blasphemous.
No, it's not, Stephen A. Smith. It's blasphemous because Kyle Pitts is a weapon, and I think Kirk Cousins will be very, very good for him. I do.
God damn it,
shout out to Rad.
A.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
I
Booner don't want nothing to do with this.
I'm not commenting.
Look,
I'm out of this
conversation just so we don't get any. Because I do think I'm at least protecting my back here.
You guys,
I think Kyle Pitts, good year. I think he's a 850 yard guy, but he's only getting 4 or 5 touchdowns. I think that's the limit. If Jeff, he gets 4 or 5, he has 6 in his career. So think about what 4 or 5 touchdowns is.
I'm not doing.
Look, he's
I'm going to say this.
He's going to be great yards after the catch. I think he'd be great given down the field, but his skill set, he's not quick enough to run the routes in the red zone, and he's not physical enough to go up and get a jump ball consistently. Can he? All right,
I'm going to say this. I'm going to step in. I'm going to step in.
Get him, Boone.
Step in.
Get him, Boone.
Kyle Pitts will have over 1,000 yards this year, just like his rookie year. He'll go out there, and I'm going to change my tone a little bit on it. He will not get 8 touchdowns. I'm with 4, 3, 4. I think Jeff, I talked to you earlier on it. I think there's just
still got the
him.
under, Booner.
I do have the under. I'm taking the under on the 4.5. I just think with him, it's like he has every skill set. I disagree with Klotz. I think I went back and watched 15 minutes of Kyle Pitts today of that 1,000-yard season that he had. He does everything. He is an absolute dog.
In the red zone,
even in the red. No, Klotz. Red zone, open field. When you just earlier. No, Klotz, go watch. I want you to go watch. He can run.
Okay, but I want you to think about this.
Can I
take it?
But hold on, just so because I think there is some context that needs to be added here, because you're acting like I said that he's not good.
You had your side. I try to get mine. Go ahead.
But what I'm saying about Kyle Pitts is in the red zone. In the red zone, if you look, he's got the skill set to be a great guy when it comes to dominating in the middle of the field. Even he can be a guy that stretches the field vertically. But in the red zone specifically,
right?
I'm sorry.
I said, why does it always got to be high pointing the football in the red zone? Why can't he catch a 20-yard?
No, that's why I said he's got to be physical, so he can just go up and run the routes and get into a linebacker. He's got to be quick, but he's too long to be quick in the red zone because he's a tight end. So when he's going up against the safeties and the cornerbacks, that's where he could use his size, but consistently he does not do that. That's why I think he's a guy that can put up a lot of yards, but not touchdowns. The intangibles are there, but the weakness in his game, without the doubt, is the red zone.
I'll give you the red zone, but the fact that he can't run routes or
in the red zone, like that's not
in the red zone. I'll give that to you, but in the open field, that man will get over 1,000 yards, and if him not being able to produce in the, he will, like he is going to. I think I'm with Jeff. I've changed the tone a little bit. I think yards wise, when I went back and watched, I watched 15 minutes of him today, plus of just highlights of him, and he is that man can run routes.
Had that man watch.
He can go in the slot. He can go. He can line up out wide and go up and get a ball on a safety or a corner. He could take on a linebacker in the middle of the field, catch the ball, and take a hit. He does it all. He's talented. He is a certified dog. Now, Klotz, to your point in the red zone, maybe, and this was what I was trying to figure out. The reason he doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, and at least to me, the difference between him and Sam LaPorta is Sam LaPorta catches the ball like in the open field and will make a play. Like if you're at the 25-yard line, Sam LaPorta will catch the ball at the 10. Boom, boom, touchdown. He'll run it in for a touchdown. Kyle Pitts will not do that. In every single play I saw him make, he did not do that. Like he just gets hits, falls. He never makes a play. Like he'll make a play on the ball, but I don't know how, I don't know. At least for me, it didn't look like he had a ton of yards after catch like Sam LaPorta. That's where I would take Sam LaPorta because he puts the ball in the end zone, which is to me a little bit more valuable. So Klotz, we're in the middle there.
Break bread, Boone. We can
break bread. And that's why we have our disagreement. We all agree Pitts will have a good year. I didn't necessarily say, and I'm not saying you say this, but this is what I was trying to say is I don't think every single touchdown catch will be in the red zone. That's my point. I think he'll make plays and probably whatever 8, 9. I made that bet. I got to sleep in it. All right, I'm sleeping in it now. But to transition, you mentioned Sam LaPorta. Sam LaPorta's at tight end university, boys. He's putting in that work. But before we get to it, Mike, what do you got? I need your bold take. All right, and we're going to get to the Sam LaPorta stuff in a little bit. But Mike, let's hear it. What do you got for us today? All right, what's your hot take?
Well, one's not really a hot take. Joe Burrow is going to win the MVP this year, and Joe Burrow will beat the Chiefs and make it back to the Super Bowl. But my bold prediction is the Lions aren't going to be playing the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. They will be playing the Eagles. The Eagles, I don't know how the path unfolds, but that's how it will end. The Lions versus the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
Wow.
So you had two predictions there. Joe Burrow MVP and Lions versus the Eagles.
Well, yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow really isn't that bold. I mean, he's like plus 1,000, but
that's bold.
I still think that's a bold take to say
MVP,
that they're going to be.
That's bold. Write that one down. That's Gentry's
They're going to
MVP.
beat the Chiefs? No 3-peat.
And they just re-up that offense. I look at the Bengals roster like Gentry. You know I love Joe Burrow. And like I'm not saying they can't do it because when they went to the Super Bowl, it was a roster that was very similar to this, except they didn't have DJ Reader, or they don't have DJ Reader now. But it's like you look at that defense, you're kind of just like, ooh, like you don't really, especially when you think about they got to go up against Patrick Mahomes and their division, they got to go up against Lamar Jackson. Like I think their defense, if they can figure out a way to just put out a top 15 unit,
don't sleep.
They'll be good.
So the Bengals,
the Bengals do play in one of the toughest divisions. It's going to be hard, but it is what it is. I trust in Joe.
I'm starting to get a feeling that maybe if all of you guys are on the Joe Burrow train, that Joe Burrow is going to be last year's Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, you watch.
Oh, you know who's going to be last year's Trevor Lawrence?
Why do you think that?
You know who?
Three of you guys were on Trevor Lawrence last year for MVP.
No. This was Trevor Lawrence as to be like a comeback, like the breakout player. Like
all of you guys were.
Yeah, no, I was high on T-Law too.
They did. Everyone did.
This is the year that Trevor Lawrence arrives. Joe Burrow has already arrived. Joe Burrow
he has, but he's never won
MVP.
He's
the only man to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs outside of Tom Brady. So that alone, he's arrived. I've just known when all three of you guys are on the same MVP guy. For me, guess what I did? I fade it.
I didn't know Jeff was on it either.
I'm not. I didn't say Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah. So I'm jumping ahead. My bad.
I knew Lucas was bro. I didn't know if he was MVP for Lucas, but
no, that's Mike's pick. I will say this: I know who plays on the East Coast. Cold City might look like Trevor Lawrence last year. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. You take that for how you will, Boone.
What, Daniel Jones?
No.
What?
Josh
Same
Allen?
state.
Oh, Josh Allen?
Let's move on, though. Sam LaPorta.
I'm so confused.
Hey, your boy, Josh Allen. I'm not talking about the edge either.
Your boy.
Josh Allen, at least at some point last year, throughout the season, multiple times was the leader of the MVP race. Trevor Lawrence dropped out week 1 instantly. Trevor Lawrence, done. Out of that MVP
week 1. He had a fine week 1 show.
I had a chance.
Up to Calvin Ridley.
Week 8, week 13. Josh Allen had a chance. MVP race.
He was just hurt. That's the thing with T-Law, and people people can make that face, Boone. You can make that face.
He was hurt.
He was a little banged up.
That man had another. I forget who it was, but it was.
I love when you guys make excuses for bad takes.
No, it was a bad take, but what I'm saying is, for Trevor Lawrence, like people are now just acting like the dude's complete ass, and it's like no.
Yeah, he missed a lot of games, didn't he?
Every throw that you wanted him to when you drafted him, he's progressed since you drafted him. He's got you a playoff win. I don't think they're going to be winning their division, but he's a damn good quarterback.
He missed a lot of games last year for sure.
No, he played through injury.
Yeah,
NFL.
If you're playing, that's no excuse. You play.
Oh, good God! It's
sorry, I'm not making excuses for my bad takes.
No,
I said it was a bad. We're explaining though, like Trevor Lawrence, like well, at least I am, is not as bad as people are making him out to be.
I think Booner agreed. Obviously, he said that too.
He's not.
So what are we doing here, Boone?
Well, you're making excuses. Well, like
I know. I'm owning up for it being a bad take.
Well, he was hurt. I don't care if he was hurt.
No.
You called him the MVP, and he played trash. Whether he's hurt or not, he played terrible.
Bad take. I agree with you. Bad take.
But to be fair, I'm consistent because when Jared Goff played bad, I brought up how, and it was reported that he was sick and he wasn't feeling well. That's fine. I'll take that. I'm not gonna be like, who cares? Play bad. Don't play. Like, no, he was feeling sick. Hey, that's context.
All right.
Would you agree, or do you say shut up and play, Jared Goff? I don't care if you're
play. If you're playing, play. Like we're here to win. Like I didn't even. I've never once, and I'm a Lions guy, and I'm the Booner Path Jared Goff guy. I never once said anything about, oh well, he's sick or hurt. No, don't turn the ball over and play football. You're out there to win football games. If you're going to play, play. If you're going to lose games, sit out and let someone else play and win games. That's my mentality. Like it's like that with anything I do or anything. It's like, hey, if I can't do it I'm doing a disservice. If I can't do a show for the people and I'm like dead or like, and I can't do, and I show up with half of my prep done, I'm not giving the people a full show. They're not getting the full
levels
Booner.
to that, Boone. There's levels to that.
No, there's not. You're in the NFL.
Oh, yes, there is.
So you're telling me Tom Brady was perfectly healthy through every single one of his runs?
No, but for Tom Brady to get through that perfectly healthy and for him to do his job, I think is a lot.
Everyone has injuries. I'm not making an excuse for Josh Allen's too. I've never once brought up Josh Allen's injury last year, and he had a whole shoulder injury. Never once brought it up. Have I ever brought it up to any of you guys?
Well, he threw a lot of picks. I mean,
yeah, because but he was injured the whole year with his shoulder. But I have ever brought that up. That was the first time that's ever been brought up.
Honestly, I don't think you have. Okay, we got to. We're going to spend a lot of time on this.
And he had a more serious injury than Trevor Lawrence.
It's going to be too much time. You know what, Boo? That's fair. You have your way of thinking, and
I think about it like, hey, if you're playing football, go out there and win a football game. Don't make excuses. I don't care about any of that.
Well, you know what? You know who doesn't make excuses, and he played through injury and played well. To your point, Boone, that's Sam LaPorta.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl with the hurt ankle, like broken ankle. All right, let's move on.
Well, that is Patrick Mahomes, but I would.
That's why he's great, and Trevor Lawrence isn't. He'll do it through it, and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
let's move on.
It's just him and his own atmosphere. But I get what
because
you're saying.
Exactly because he does stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Sam LaPorta went to ETN says you said you would win. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're gonna open up a hole. We're gonna know it's not doing it. Sam LaPorta went to tight end university. He's already been, but I believe right. I believe he was already been. I think that was when he was coming to the NFL.
He did last year as a rookie.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's already been. He's back. He's working with Dallas Clark. Do you guys firmly believe that when we have these conversations about Sam LaPorta's next season and how statistically, and I think Dan mentioned this, how it might not look the same, but he'll still play. He's still going to be better, but it just depends. There's only one football. We get all that. Where are you guys at with Sam LaPorta going into next season in terms of repeating as an All-Pro, being an All-Pro tight end, where he ranks among tight ends? Do you think there will be maybe even improvement statistically?
I'll let you boys go.
What do you guys think?
I don't know how much improvement or the stats will be, how many yards. I think he'll still get in the end zone a fair amount of times, and I think he'll still be around All-Pro. If not, he will be an All-Pro. I think him and Goff's chemistry is just going to get better, but like you said, the ball does need to be moved around more. But as we've seen last year and down the stretch into the playoffs, Sam LaPorta is probably the number 2 target, if not the number 1 target in Goff's read. So I think he's only going to get better from here. He's still a very young player, and we've seen he can do a lot. He can block. He can go out there and catch. So I think the ceiling is really the limit for Sam LaPorta. I think he'll be an All-Pro for years to come. It's just, you stay healthy, go out there and ball.
Yeah, I mean, I called my shot with Sam LaPorta, and that was my big player coming in. I thought he was going to be a really good piece, but the thing is with Sam LaPorta is everybody knows about him now. Like everybody knows he's an All-Pro caliber tight end, and Gentry, to your point, he is probably I would say number 2 behind Amon-Ra in this offense in the passing game. So I do think he's going to get fed. I think where there's more chance for him to jump is not with the yards, but it is in touchdowns. I know he put up 10 last year, but we always talk about Josh Reynolds, who's going to replace his production in the red zone. Not like Kyle Pitts. I think Sam LaPorta will have probably 2. I could see 2 more touchdowns this year. I could see him taking from a 10 touchdown jump to 12.
Wow.
But I think yards, it would be really hard for taking another jump just because he did so much after the catch this year. But I think teams are definitely going to game plan more for LaPorta. But it kind of goes back to that Gibb conversation we were just having as far as offensive player of the year. I don't think he's going to win it as far as being an All-Pro with Sam LaPorta, but he's going to be that caliber of player because there are going to be, I think, tight ends that get fed more than Sam LaPorta around the league.
Wow. Yeah, could have did without that shot, but I will say this, Klotzy and Gentry, I do, and Boone, I want to know where you're at with this because I kind of agree with them. Statistically, it's going to be interesting. He set the bar so high, and I do think he has more. I mean, we've seen Dallas Clark had an 1,100-yard year. You've seen tight ends
year 6.
What?
Like it was like when people already knew about him. He had like an 800-yard year, and then he doubled it up with an 1,100-yard year.
Yeah, he was in the league for like 8 years, and then he just decided to have 1,100 yards. So I think to your guys' point, the league knows about him, certainly, but I just think there's a lot of weapons on this team. They're run first offense. They obviously love play actions where Jared Goff thrives. So I think that benefits him as well. And Ben Johnson's going to find ways to scheme him open. So and he's actually a good route runner too. I mean he gets
Very
open.
good route.
So I think LaPorta statistically could improve. I wouldn't be shocked, if I'm being honest with you, with this passing attack. I would not be shocked if you have 2,000-yard receivers and one of them is Sam LaPorta. I can see him getting that 1,000-yard clip, just clipping the 1,000 yards. Got to stay healthy, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if he started off this year, 6 catches, almost 100 yards, whatever it is, and him and Amon-Ra are kind of that 1-2 in the passing game, and J-Mo gets his 600 to 800 yards, whatever it is. I can see that. I mean, I can. I think it would have to be at J-Mo's kind of expense, though. I brought this up before. If you're higher on Sam LaPorta, something's got to give here with receiving yards, and I think that person would either be Amon-Ra, which I think Amon-Ra is going to have another 1,500-yard year, or J-Mo. It's got to be one or the other, but I think Sam LaPorta will certainly be better as a player. Statistically, I would probably lean on the side of repeating what he did last year, if not some more yards. But it really depends to me on J-Mo and how good he is this season. He's kind of the big X factor for me because if he goes out and plays really well, maybe you see a similar year of LaPorta. And if J-Mo isn't quite what you expected, I can see LaPorta getting 1,000 yards.
Oh, my mic is just my bad, guys. My mic was just brutal over here. It just kept muting and unmuting. No, I'm with you guys here to the point to where I do think Sam LaPorta is going to take a jump this year. And the approach that I'm taking when I look at Sam LaPorta's game going into this season is Sam LaPorta, out of all tight ends in the NFL, I believe was 7th or 8th in yards after catch. So he was he struggled in that this year. And when you look at it, he had 358 yards after catch. And then when I look at the other all-pro tight end, George Kittle, first team all-pro, and Sam LaPorta, second team. Sam LaPorta had 86 receptions. George Kittle had 65. He had 21 more receptions than George Kittle. And George Kittle still had almost 300 more yards than he did this last season. And Sam LaPorta still had 20-plus more catches than him. And he had 250 less yards. So I think there's something with Sam LaPorta this year. And I think he knows it, too, because at mini camps and OTAs, he came out and said, there are things that he needs to work on, whether it's just kind of, just little small things in his routes or getting in certain spots and finding different, helping Jared Goff and other guys in certain spots. So it helps him get more yards and different things. So he knows that there are small things he can get better at. But I think that's where he kind of takes a step this year, and he has to kind of look at it a little bit because there's things that we know. One, Sam LaPorta is going to be a dog in the red zone. He's going to have touchdowns. Jared Goff, that's one of his favorite targets in the end zone is Sam LaPorta. So that's going to be inevitable. He's going to score touchdowns. Number 2 is he's always going to be in the spots that Jared Goff wants, he needs to be in. That's why he was so successful this last year, was because the Ben Johnson offense, it's about guys being in the right spots at the right time. So Jared Goff knows, hey, I have my guy here. It's a timing offense. So Sam LaPorta is so good at that he's that's already something he's great at. And that's why he had 800 yards and 86 catches, was because he was in the right spots at the right times for Jared Goff, and he was very reliable for him. Now it's about adding yards to the 86 catches, because you have 20 more catches than George Kittle, and he still has that many more yards than you. I think that's when, how can Sam LaPorta take a step? The only part he can improve in this game on is yards after catch. That's what it is. Do you guys want me to name some names here? Tight ends that had higher yards after catch than him. We'll do this. He had 358. Jonnu Smith, over, I think he's in Atlanta now, but he was in Miami, or vice versa. He had 357. Jake Ferguson had more yak yards than him. Trey McBride had more yak yards than him. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Evan Ingram, David Njoku. So that's the improvement that Sam LaPorta, and I think he can do it, guys. I think he can play. He can make plays. So I think that's kind of where he improves, and I think he does get well over 1,000 this year. If he gets another 80+ catches, he's going to improve in that aspect of his game, where he's going to easily go over 1,000.
Yeah, I think that's a great point with the yak. Jonnu Smith being on there, interesting.
You're interesting.
I want to transition here. I think you guys said it best. All of us kind of agree that Sam LaPorta, the best is yet to come for the Lions tight end. But we have some questions here for Mailbag. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure we get to it because lately we've been having some good conversations. We haven't quite been able to get to all the Mailbag, but we'll start us off. So get your questions in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Just to start off, Michael, that's my guy. He says, Mailbag, what Lions could take a step back in 24?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's a great question. Wow. It's funny. We always talk about propping guys up. We never talk about the opposite, which is like
step back
progression, which
I've got one.
is part of the conversation. You have to talk
Let
about.
us boom.
David Montgomery.
Ooh.
I just don't
As
know.
far as production?
Yeah, I mean, I just like. Do you guys think he goes over 1,000 again this year with the Jameer Gibbs jump? That's the biggest
I think
question.
that's not a bad. I think that's a good pick. If you're going,
Do you know what I
off
mean?
that,
Like,
based off
I
that,
think, I think David Montgomery's a great running back in the NFL. Top 15 in my opinion. I think he's really good. Running back 1 on most teams. But if Jameer Gibbs takes the jump that we think he's going to, I think it's inevitable that he's going to take a little bit of a hit. I'm not sure, but I think he would take a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, if you're high on Gibbs, I don't hate it. What do you guys think about that?
I'm honestly like thinking.
What about Anzo?
That was where I was going.
And Jack Campbell takes that next step.
That's where I was going.
You boys loving Demon, but saying that Anzo's going to be taking a step back. No, sir.
Captain Jack.
It doesn't have to be a drastic step, but just a little step back, and then Jack Campbell takes that step forward.
What if I think what if I told you I think Anzalone takes a step forward?
What about then that would leave Derek Barnes potentially? Maybe Derek Barnes takes
Derek Barnes. Yeah, we'll get on that. We can agree there.
Okay. All right.
I still think he'll be like LB3, but I think Jack will be like it'll be Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes. That's how I think. It's no disrespect.
I think Anzo's going to stay the same, and Jack's going to take a step.
Anzo, in my opinion, has gotten better every single season he's been in Detroit. Like,
but he hasn't had a Jack Campbell in there. Like he's had to, like he's.
But I think that Jack Campbell makes his life easier.
Yeah, I don't even think that means he's getting better numbers. I think like Jack's going to take some of that away because he's never had another guy like Jack Campbell in that room.
Maybe production wise, yeah, but I think as far as Anzo, like he was flying all over the field last year, and I think that stays. And I think he's playing even hungrier, especially after that NFC Championship game. Like he was playing a good game in that NFC Championship game. Like he was throwing Christian McCaffrey around. I remember that being like one of the key plays in the first, kind of like setting the tone in the first half. Alex Anzalone stonewalled Christian McCaffrey, and there's not many guys that can do that and cover tight ends. I really like Alex Anzalone, and I think he's going to be a guy that surprised a lot of people as far as like, oh, wow, he got better somehow, because I don't think he has Fred Warner potential, but I think he's a very solid linebacker in this league that can play at a Pro Bowl level.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Jeff? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of something, but I don't know if I should say it. There's a lot here. Yeah. Because I was thinking statistically.
Yeah, that's
maybe partially statistically, and I think when you say this player, it's like, how dare you? But I don't know.
Welcome to the stand, Jeffrey.
It's a bomb.
Welcome to the stand.
I'm gonna keep this one in the vest.
I'll say one.
I say it.
We might be thinking the same thing, but could it be possible Jared Goff? Jared Goff takes a step back. Is there a chance that he does? Not saying that he's bad, but does he play at the same level that he did?
When you say that, it's like I get like, but you see what I'm saying? When you say that, like, because you're saying maybe statistically, but then it's like, what are you talking about? You know?
Because I think, he had a hell of a year defensively. They got better. You look at games like the Chargers last year, the Saints. I don't think there's that many games. Like I think the Lions just there's less bleeding. I think they just shut it down right away, and that goes to more carries.
You know what I was gonna say? I was gonna say Jared. I was gonna say Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I just think some
1,300, 1,340.
Guys are just naming guys that had big years last year. We could just name every guy that had a great year. We could just name every guy that had a big year last year, and we could say the argument. Let's be serious here.
Step back.
We gotta pick up an answer. Like If the defense,
everyone can't just constantly take steps forward. I mean, it's not how that
No,
works.
but like we've just named every player that had a big year last year.
Well, typically not to be that guy, but big year guys that big years typically are that guy that takes steps.
Yeah, so like let's just name all 10 big years from last year, and then we're gonna be all.
No, it's not. But I'm not gonna say J-Mo. I mean, J-Mo had barely did.
Well, he didn't have a big year last year. I'm saying big years last year.
That's the
Who do you want to?
That is what a step back means.
Jared Goff will not take a step back. Amon Ra won't take a step back.
I knew that one would get Boone going.
Yeah, like that.
Because again,
it comes with the that infringes on the Booner path. It comes with the territory. But Jeff, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not. I knew that one wouldn't land.
You want me to give you another realistic one?
Give us one, Boone. Give it to us.
A guy that only had a good stretch of football towards the end of last year. He had if he played like he did in the last 6 games of last year, he's probably the best defensive player in the entire NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Ife Melifonwu. Ife Melifonwu, he's not going to do what he did at the end of last year. If he did, he literally will be the best safety in the NFL. That's like a realistic one. Another one, like the offensive side, I think realistically, the D might based off the theory of Gibbs. The Jared Goff thing, I think Jared Goff is just going to be solid. I don't even think last year was like, whoa, he wasn't even in the MVP conversation. He just played solid football all year. He just does.
The Dallas game he was. I just think Jared Goff, he did wow me as far as his consistency in winning big games and not fucking things up. I thought he did a great job at that, especially when you looked at some of the defenses he played against and the defense that he did have. So I think he was very poised. And when I'm saying that, I'm sure you already know what I'm saying, Booner. I think he could take 200 yards dip in production and then touchdowns could drop because they get more rushing touchdowns. But I just think
the defense is better. I mean, this comment here, I Dad Tourette's. I get what Jeff's saying. In a perfect world, the defense gets much better, which means we're running more. There's so many things. That's the thing. I don't mean he takes a step back skill wise. You got to listen to what I'm saying. He gets better.
Not skill wise, but numbers wise. I see what you're saying, but
so you
still don't think so.
Because a step back, you would say a step forward, or he stays the same. So 1,500 yards. Yeah, it could happen. I'm not saying it won't. But yeah, that's why. It's what happens when you get into that negative bag. Not saying it's negative, but it's honest. It gets a little touchy sometimes.
These people work for the Booner Path. It's unbelievable. I had someone message me today asking for a position. I might replace some people.
No way.
Go ahead,
no. He asked if the Booner Path was hiring.
Replaceable.
I've had people.
Goddamn
right. Everyone's replaceable, even me. That's why. That's how you're supposed to be great. If you never are replaceable, you can't be great.
I don't think
Tom Brady was replaceable for 20 years.
Hey, Triple Nickel says Sione. His name is pronounced Sione. Please read this so you guys stop saying it wrong and sound disrespectful. I didn't know it.
Triple does not like that.
Is that Sione? Sione? Is that Sione Vaki? Is that him? Is he calling us out right now?
Yeah.
How does this guy know? Who is this guy? That's what I want to know. Is he friends with Sione?
Google search probably.
No, not
Sione. Yeah. Well, so it is.
Well, this guy has a bet for you.
Yeah, Jesse. Me and Jesse, I think I might have made bets before. I'm declining the bets.
You want bet 50 bones or pizza that the Browns have a better record than the Steelers? Second question: Lions, Rams, Eagles, Texans, and division winner parlay. Oh wow!
I like that. I like that a lot. Actually, the Rams. Take the Rams out though. 49ers win that division, but the Eagles, Texans, Lions, and then add one more team.
Don't sleep on those Colts in the AFC South. I'm telling you.
But Jesse, I'm not taking the bet. The reason I'm not taking the bet is because we're gonna do these predictions every single Monday. If I make a bet, $50 bet every Monday leading up to the season, I'm gonna be like $400 in out there in bet. So on these Monday predictions, I cannot take a bet for every single one. I've got to be disciplined.
A dark horse MVP candidate.
It's fair, Booner.
Josh Allen.
I already said Joe Burrow, so I rest my case.
Is that dark horse though, Joe Burrow?
I don't know. Is it
dark horse?
I'm gonna pull up the odds. I want to see the odds.
That's what I'm doing.
I don't know if I like this one. This one again is gonna sting. I don't know if I want to say this one.
If it's in the NFC North, don't say it.
Anyone else want to say anything?
Was it in the NFC North?
I'm trying to think of a legitimate. I could see Aaron Rodgers being one.
Aaron Rodgers, 25-1.
Yeah, there we go. We just locked in at the same time. Bill.
There you go. Yeah,
let's go. Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's a dark horse though.
He should have. No, he's 50-1.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like in my mind. I don't really think of it as a dark horse.
He is down here.
I mean,
but like if you got told Christian McCaffrey won the MVP, you would be like,
yeah, he deserves.
You should sprinkle it then, 50-1.
Yeah, it's good odds actually. I'm gonna be honest, I would sprinkle.
I got one. Will Levis. I'm just kidding.
Anthony Richardson. Can I interest you?
I think Jordan Love is a dark horse, man. I do. I do.
Stroud. He's not really a dark horse.
I think Jordan Love, just because of the situation, like they look at all the young players. But here's the thing: I don't have the Packers winning. It's like the young roster he elevated. Like I already know the storyline. Like they're gonna bullshit that, but they have to win 12, 13 games, man. I don't know. They could. I have him at 11. I think the Lions win the NFC North. But man, if he's MVP. Could he win MVP? No, I don't think he could win MVP, but not win the division. So it doesn't fit my narrative. So I'm gonna disagree. I'm actually gonna disagree with myself. I'm gonna retract that statement because I have the Lions.
What about possible? I'm just trying to think of like reaches that I could see. Maybe the Rams win the division. Stafford, maybe.
That's a good one. Sleeper.
I just want to throw this out there. This is really disappointing that the Mavs are gonna lose this basketball game.
Yep, Celtics.
I already knew
fucking smacked too.
We're down 25.
Yeah,
dude.
remember we all talked about that. Remember when they lost on air? We were like, "What's going on? They just want to win in Boston." That's what we said.
I do hope what happens is the Mavs get like Paul George or something, and then they go win a championship next year. Like I hope the Mavs add like a big. You know what actually would be sick?
I don't know if Paul George would do it.
Someone's gonna go there because they're one piece away. You know what would be sick? They draft Bronny and LeBron opts out in Los Angeles, goes to Dallas, and wins a championship. I'm not a LeBron. No, I just want Luka to win. I just want Luka to win a championship.
Don't do that.
I'm a Luka fan.
You have my attention. You have my attention. I'm interested.
I just want Luka to get one, man. That's all.
I think that's a good way. Booner. I like your way of thinking.
I just think as soon as Luka wins a championship, he's going to start getting respect for MVP. Like he should have won last year. Like he's just not. It's crazy to me.
But it's going to be tough if LeBron goes there because he wants the ball.
No, he'll make sure Luka gets his. He'll make sure Luka gets his.
Yeah, but it's Lucas. Yeah, that's the tough part about going to a team like that. Unless LeBron's cool with that. I mean, she's like, hey, but LeBron's so smart. He wants the ball. Like he's like, give me the damn ball.
And he'll give Luka I guess Luka is a ball in hand type of player.
Yeah. Like Kyrie and LeBron are always a perfect match. Like Luka and Kyrie are a perfect match given how they play. But
is there a chance they come back?
I hope. I
just saw they're only down 20, and they've made comebacks before. And I just saw, I just was on Twitter. A big time Celtics fan already lit a cigar and started smoking a cigar.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh,
don't do that.
And I'm sure you guys know who the Celtics fan is.
We know what that we know what that looks like. We're smoking cigars at halftime. Remember that? Mm-hmm.
You do not do that. And he did it at halftime. It was the halftime press conference.
Don't do it. Lions fan too. Celtics fan. Don't do it.
It's a tough one, man.
But we'll get out of here, man. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for tuning in on a Monday. Get your merch, Official CT Sports. Again, this hat we're gonna make available in the next couple of days.
Can't wait to get one.
That hat that Mike has is available. It's a Trekker hat. I'm going to get one for myself as well. It's sweet. And so is other merch like this. Little Crunch Time tee I ordered for. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. We got all the merch.
Yeah, how about this? Hey, this Crunch Time merch, baby.
Booner, yours is on the way. All right. Well,
I'm just playing, bro.
I mean, we'll take care of them. Actually, out of the Booner Path one. Look at that. Hold on.
Triple Nickel said.
Booner Path action. I mean, come on.
C-O-Nay.
Let's go.
C-O-Nay. Get it down.
Until tomorrow, appreciate MicroMike. Appreciate all you guys, man. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers, man. We're trying to get to 10,000 for the season. So until that happens, you guys are supporting every step of the way. And for that, we appreciate you. Until tomorrow, stay blessed out there, stay safe, and stay out of the heat. It's hot as hell. Okay.